Welcome home, college football fans, and welcome everyone inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. What a way to kick off this season. The defending national champions, Alabama, against 14th ranked Miami. A head-to-head battle of two of the all-time great programs in the history of college football. And so glad to have the fans back in-house for this Chick-fil-A kickoff game on ABC. The fans are back, but COVID certainly not gone, nor has it been forgotten, with an eye toward it. The roof will be open today here at Mercedes-Benz for the first time ever for a college football game played in this stadium. Hi, everybody. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge. Delighted to have you with us, Todd. Great to be back with you as we get a look at Alabama, the defending national champions. They lost 6 first-round draft picks off that team. They lost their offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian, now the head coach at Texas, and yet they're preseason #1 again. That doesn't seem possible, but nobody's arguing with it.
Well, make no mistake, there is no shortage of talent on this Alabama football team, and even though it may be inexperienced on the offensive side, this is a battle-tested defensive football team. I think it'll be Nick Saban's best defense that he's had in the last couple years. They've got some stars on that defense, and I think that's the part of the team that's going to carry things at least early until Alabama's offense develops.
Of course, the headliners they lost, most of them were on offense, including Mac Jones, the starting quarterback who's going to start in week 1 for the New England Patriots. His backup last year was Bryce Young, and they believe, the coaches do, that he's ready to step in and follow in the recent line of Hurts, Tagovailoa, and Jones.
Very smart, very knowledgeable of the offense. He's really taken ownership of it. And much like Mac Jones, I mean, he's ready to step into the limelight. He's got a maturity about him to go along with some great passing talent.
And a tough opening test for the national champs. D'Eriq King leads the Miami Hurricanes into this game. Unlike Bryce Young, he's very experienced. This will be his 32nd career start. Some of those at Houston. And he's in his 2nd year as a starter at Miami, back from a serious knee injury. Miami believes it is ready to win a game like this against the best possible opponent, take a huge step back toward national prominence. That's what would happen if they could win this game today. Miami won the toss and deferred, so Alabama elected to receive the opening kickoff. It'll come off the foot of Andy Borregales, the true freshman in his first college game. No pressure, full house, national TV. His brother Jose was their great kicker a year ago. Spinning kick goes out of the back of the end zone. It was Jamison Williams, the transfer from Ohio State, who was back to receive it. So here come Bryce Young and the Crimson Tide offense. Sophomore, but in essence a redshirt freshman, because everybody got a free year because of COVID last year. Southern California, out of Modern Day High School, one of the top quarterback prospects coming out 2 years ago. Many believe he was the best. 9 games a year ago, all in relief. Now he is the man. He said pressure only comes if you're not prepared. He believes he's fully prepared. He hands it off to Brian Robinson, and Robinson drives ahead for 2. He was smothered by a defense fired up and led on that play by Keontre Smith, that outside linebacker.
This is going to be the real challenge for Miami. Can they stand up to the Alabama run game? Even though it's a new quarterback, they feel like their offensive line is still going to be physical. Manny Diaz, his defense last year struggled against the run, and they're going to get tested right away by this Alabama front.
Substitutions along the offensive line relative to what Alabama thought it would start the season with. More on that in a moment. Young, a play fake, and a deep throw to an open receiver. Jamison Williams couldn't take it in.
He stumbled. I mean, he was beyond the defense. He did have to kind of turn because the ball was not thrown over his outside shoulder. Watch him have to turn his head, and as he tried to move towards the ball, he lost his footing. But Bryce Young had an opportunity for a huge play right there on 2nd down.
Of course, they lost Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle from a year ago. Heisman Trophy winner Smith, both were first-round picks. They're happy to have Williams over from Ohio State. He brings experience and speed. 3rd down and 7. The opening possession of the season for Alabama. Young has time. Far sideline. Caught. John Mechie, their leading returning wideout, has the 1st down. Out at the 40-yard line.
A really nice job. Watch the left side here. Pick up the blitz. Nice job by McClellan, the tailback, and then Bryce Young delivers a timing throw to Mechie, the most experienced receiver. Watch him get away from the contact. Make the catch.
And back they come again. Slade Bolden, another veteran receiver, picks up 11 and gets them into Miami territory. They'll go quickly. You mentioned changes on the offensive line. They thought Chris Owens would be the center, but the right tackle, Kendall Randolph, is out with a high ankle sprain. So Owens, 79, is the right tackle, as you can see. And Darian Dalcourt starts at center. John Mechie. Good tackle in space by Gervin Hall, one of their safeties. It's a veteran Miami team. Just about everybody back on defense. In all, 19 of their 22 starters returned from an 8-3 team of a year ago.
One of the things you always wonder about in a game 1 scenario, how will we tackle on the perimeter? Because both of these offenses are going to test that with quick throws, just like the one we just saw.
Young 3 out of 4, the only incompletion, the ball that Williams couldn't handle when he was open. Spun around and stumbled to the turf. Brian Robinson in his 5th year, finally the lead back. Powers his way to a 1st down to the 37-yard line. He has waited very patiently to be the starter. His 53rd career game, his 1st start.
Well, he's a powerful guy. When he gets those shoulders north and south, a difficult guy to tackle. Listed at 225 pounds. I mean, he's a grown man playing tailback for Alabama.
Waited behind Damian Harris, Najee Harris, both in the NFL. Miami showing blitz. They are very aggressive on defense. The head coach, Manny Diaz, has reclaimed the defensive coordinator role as well this year. He's calling the defenses. Young had to step up away from the rush. Wide open receiver. It's John Mechie lunging for the pylon. There is a flag. It's a touchdown if it stands.
I think Miami was offsides on the pass rush. Evan Neal still blocked his guy, and this touchdown should stand.
Offside. Defense number 13. Penalties decline. The results of the plays. Touchdown.
DeAndre Johnson got a head start. Didn't matter. Here's the end. The dive for the pylon. What a great shot on our progressive pylon cam. And John Mechie, the guy who is assuming the starring role in this wide receiver core, off to a great start.
Will Reichert, who didn't miss a kick all of last year, field goal or extra point, good on his 1st try of this season. Terrific start for Bryce Young. 4 out of 5 on the drive for 67 yards and the touchdown pass to Mechie. And we welcome our ABC audience inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, with Molly McGrath and Todd McShay down on the field.
Miami player number 3.
Alabama took the opening kickoff, and Bryce Young, in his 1st career start, marched them right down the field.
Well, it was a brilliant drive by Bryce Young. One thing we saw all possession was him adjusting protections. Evan Neal blocks the rush. Mechie gets behind the defense. That's 2 plays on this opening possession where Alabama had receivers behind the Miami defense. And you can't make those kind of mistakes against a team as good as Alabama.
Some question as to whether or not Mechie was out, but he got the ball over the pylon. He is now the lead man in the wide receiver room. They have lost 4 wide receivers in the last 2 years to the 1st round of the NFL. 2 years ago, Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, and in this year's draft, Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. Fair catch called for by Mike Harley off the Will Reichert kickoff. So Miami will start from its own 25, led by D'Eriq King, the 24-year-old from Manville, Texas, in the Houston area. Started his college career at Houston, 4 years there. Now in his second year at Miami. More than 10,000 career yards. When you put together passing, rushing, he was actually a starting wide receiver at the beginning of his Houston career and a kick returner. And back off major knee surgery 8 months ago today. Injured in their bowl loss in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma State. His right knee, remarkable quick return to action. He's never worn a brace, and he says he never will. Dual threat quarterback like Young, and he's on target for about 7, maybe even 8, to the newcomer from Oklahoma, Charleston Rambo.
Rambo, a nice addition to this offense. That's Rhett Lashley, his second year in this system. The first time D'Eriq King in his career has ever had the same offensive coordinator, same system, 2 years in a row.
And he's on target to Will Mallory, and the tight end has the first down. He steps into the lead role at tight end for Brevin Jordan now in the NFL. Here are the impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, and Manny Diaz says Charleston Rambo gives them something they haven't had in recent years, a deep threat who can win one-on-one matchups. That's Cameron Harris ahead for about 5. And Todd Henry To'o, a great story for Alabama, transferred from Tennessee, arrived in June. He's already a leader of that defense.
Well, the defense he played in at Tennessee, Jeremy Pruitt was the coach. It was the exact same defense they run here at Alabama. Pruitt was an assistant here under Nick Saban. So he was able, with that knowledge, to come in and be a leader right away.
False start. Offense, number 60, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's Zion Nelson, the left tackle. Rhett Lashley says he's their most talented offensive lineman. They have an experienced offensive line. That might be the old joke, though. The good news is we have every starter back, and the bad news is we have every starter back. It has been a line that has struggled in recent years. But among the group of about 159 combined starts, only Minnesota has more. Cam Harris back to the 42-yard line.
The real challenge for this Miami offensive line will be the 2 outside rushers, Will Anderson, 31, and Chris Harris, number 4.
There's Cameron Harris in trouble and stacked up on 3rd down and 7. They tried to sneak in a delayed run, and Will Anderson, Phil Mathis, among those having nothing of it.
There was no fooling the Alabama defense. Everybody held their ground, held their technique. Christian Harris, number 8, the linebacker, forced it back inside. And there was Will Anderson there to help.
So here's a weapon. Lou Hedley, the 28-year-old from Australia. Slade Bolden back for the punt. He's standing in the sunshine. Just a small part of the field. At that end, as you can see, is in the sun. The rest of it in the shade. I wonder if that caused Jamison Williams a problem on the first possession picking up the ball. Miami led the country in net punting last year, thanks largely to Hedley. His line drive punt was fielded by Bolden, who returned it for 5 yards before Corey Couch tackled him. 38-yard punt. Alabama scores on its opening possession. That's a great omen historically for the Tide. John Mechie, the touchdown on the opening possession for Alabama. And before they can snap it on their second possession, a
false start. Offense, number 1, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jamison Williams off to a bit of a shaky start in his Tide debut. We mentioned it's a great omen when Nick Saban's team scores a touchdown on its opening possession. Alabama's won 41 games in a row when doing that, haven't lost since the 2014 Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma. Bryce Young 4 on the 5 on the opening drive. Brian Robinson is the running back. Runs left, runs over Canes, and nearly gets the 15 for the first down. He got 13 before Bubba Bolden shoved him out.
He shows a little burst too, because he's going to break this to the outside, and he's able to get to the corner. He breaks one tackle, and then you see him just run through a couple arm tackles. Again, this is a big physical back. He runs very upright. You've got to bring a load to get him to the ground.
Brian Robinson grew up in Tuscaloosa, went to Tide games as a kid, said, I've worked and waited my whole life for this opportunity. He waited very patiently. He's a good back. He has the first down. As a matter of fact, when we spoke with Bill O'Brien yesterday, the new offensive coordinator, he said he thinks the running back group of about 4 is very deep and talented. And what a nice start for Bill O'Brien in the spotlight.
And a little different. Steve Sarkisian, the man who he took his place. Steve Sarkisian was calling plays as a coordinator on the field. Bill O'Brien up in the booth. Just came from the NFL, so even the whole signaling system different than what he's been used to the last several years of just speaking into a headset to his quarterback.
First and 10, 8.5 to go. First quarter, 7-0 Bama. Miami brought pressure. They flush Young, who throws on the run and has a first down. Jamison Williams the catch. And the elusiveness of Bryce Young on display on that play.
I mean, Miami over the last couple of years has always been able to rush the passer from the edge, but you see the elusiveness, the quick feet of Bryce Young. He told us when we talked to him, he says, look, I am mobile, I do have good feet, but I want to stay in the pocket and be a passer for as long as I possibly can. But he knew that time when to get out and make a play outside.
Jace McClellan steps in for Robinson at running back. He brings some speed. He got 3 to the 45 of Miami.
You mentioned the running backs. Bill O'Brien told us that they've got 4 guys they feel very confident with. Of course, Brian Robinson, the starter, McClellan, the next guy in. And even though they lost 3 starters off that offensive line, they still think this is a really good group. Evan Neal, the left tackle, is going to be a first-round pick himself very soon.
Play fake. Young dumps it out in the flat to McClellan, who got blasted by Tyreek Stevenson, a transfer from Georgia, Miami native, who came home to play for the Canes. And Manny Diaz told us that's a lot of what he brings, physicality.
You know, we've already seen from Bryce Young his knowledge of this offense, his ability to set protections, to direct traffic. He's got a real maturity about him for a young player.
Best in the country on third down during their 13-0 national title season of a season ago. They picked up a key third down on their opening possession. Young, all kinds of time, shovels it to McClellan, work to do, and he did it. Got the first down with 2 to spare, tackled by Corey Couch and Gilbert Frierson.
Well, first of all, it's only a 3-man rush, so he just moves to his right to see if he can open. 3-man rush means 8 guys dropping. There's not much room to throw the football, but he doesn't panic. Keeps his calm, flips it out to McClellan. Kind of like a delayed option play almost.
Like he's playing in the schoolyards of his native Southern California.
Watch him go for a shot right here, though.
On first and 10 from the 36, high snap. He took it down, gave it to Robinson. Brian Robinson inside the 20. Ball might have come loose at the end, but he was ruled down at the 17-yard line. And already, for Canes fans, Todd, shades of a year ago, not doing a very good job tackling or stopping the run.
Oh, and a really nice job by Cameron Latu leading that play, the tight end number 81 in there. And again, I mean, this is a hard back to tackle, and Miami with their hands full right now.
Being dominated in the first 9 minutes plus. Already 7-0 Bama, and they're on the move again. Robinson taken down for a loss by Corey Couch. The play forced by Bubba Bolden. Bolden, one of those who elected to return for another year. Eric King announced he was coming back for another season before they even played the bowl game in which he got hurt. And as soon as he said, "I'm coming back," Bolden and several others said, "I'm not going to the NFL." Bolden said, "I'm coming back to win a national championship." And that starts Saturday, meaning today. Blitz up the middle. Harris dodged it again. Bubba Bolden whiffed. And Young throws it away. Over the head of John Mechie, but that was just a throwaway.
Well, Bubba Bolden could have taken a big step forward for his team. He's coming on a safety blitz unblocked and just kind of whiffs. Now part of that is just the nimble feet of Bryce Young. Still has to throw it away, but that loss of yardage play could have been huge for the Hurricane defense.
Bryce Young's parents, Craig and Julie, part of the sellout crowd of more than 71,000. With the roof open, very comfortable day, temperature in the mid-80s and low humidity. 3rd down and 13 from the 20.
3-man rush again, zone defense.
And Young steps up, fires back in the end zone, and it's broken up. Nice play by Bolden as Young tried to rifle one in to Slade Bolden, no relation to Bubba Bolden.
Well, that's a good stop by the Miami defense. Both on 2nd down and 3rd down. It was more than 10 yards needed. They went 3-man rush, dropped 8, and just tried to keep all the receivers in front of them, plus an eye on the quarterback, and they forced the field goal attempt. Much needed stop by the Hurricanes.
Reichert had a perfect year last year, 14 for 14 in field goals. Made all 84 PATs. Dating back to the season before, he made 15 field goals in a row, and now 16. Longest active field goal streak in the country, that one from 38. Bama's had it twice. They've scored twice. Work to do for Eric King when we come back.
I'm originally from...
The Chick-fil-A Kickoff on ABC is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Try the grilled chicken club sandwich today.
Last 2 times these teams played, they were playing for the national championship. In 1990, the Sugar Bowl, Miami won to clinch a national title for Dennis Erickson in his first year as head coach. The Tide got revenge in that memorable 93 Sugar Bowl, beating the Canes 34-13. Alabama's 12th national championship program history under the great Gene Stallings.
That's one of those plays you'll never forget either, right? The strip by George Teague and Lamar Thomas.
Yep.
I mean, that's just one of those plays that's etched in any college football fan's memory.
The 18th meeting all time between these two. Alabama leads 14-3. They haven't played since January 1st of 93. Will Reichert to kick off. It's been all tied so far. Tumbling kickoff will go through the side of the end zone. Mike Harley couldn't fetch it. Back in the studio, we say good afternoon to Kevin Nagandi.
Good afternoon. Showing time now for our AT&T 5G studio update in Madison. Wisconsin trailing in the red zone. Graham Mertz late against Penn State's defense.
Yeah, Penn State playing a little robber coverage. Mertz just didn't see the robber.
And then the final play of the game, again down by 6, another pick.
Can't be laid across the middle, Kev.
Sean, I know your partner Todd's smiling. Penn State holds on 16-10.
Yeah, that was a great win. You know, slow start last year in the COVID year for Penn State. Great win on the road today.
Cameron Harris in trouble on 1st down. Did well to get across the line of scrimmage. Where Christopher Allen made the tackle for Alabama.
Chris Allen and Will Anderson, these 2 outside linebackers, they think they're going to have a special pass rush this year because of the skills of those 2.
Harris ran into his own man, got bounced back as he collided with Navon Donaldson. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, Derek King told me he attacked rehab 2 times a day with one goal in mind, to be back to play in this game. He's just 8 months to the day removed from his ACL surgery. His physical therapist told me it's usually 9 to 12 months that players are ready to return to the field. And he told me he's ready to run with the football, but we're going to have to see something special from Derek King today.
5 wide receivers. King over the middle. The slant connects to Keyshawn Smith, but he's down 2 yards short of the first down. Tackled by Jalen Armour Davis, a first-year starter, a special teams player the last couple of years. Standing in for the first-round pick, Patrick Surtain. It looks like Miami might be going for this.
No, they can't do that. Way too early in the game for that. I mean, you've already had trouble stopping Alabama, right? Don't give them a short field.
Well,
use the weapon you have in Headley, right? And try to pin them back down inside their own 15-yard line.
Watched Minnesota the other night. P.J. Fleck go for it from his own 29 and turn the game, at least for a while. That net punting mark last year was the all-time FBS single season record. Nearly 45 yards net. And that's an example of why. 47-yard punt, no return.
Timeout on the field.
Mac who? Bryce Young and Bama back on the field after this.
Well, early in Nick Saban's championship run, it was more defense, but not so much the last few years. These last 3 quarterbacks that have played for Alabama, not only great success, national championships, but also will all 3 be day 1 starters in the NFL next week when that season kicks off. That's pretty amazing.
Tua and Mac will be going head-to-head as New England and Miami open against each other. Mac Jones wins the starting quarterback job for New England on opening day, beating out Cam Newton, who was released by New England this week. Third possession for Bama. They've had a touchdown and a field goal. It's Brian Robinson stacked up after a 3-yard pickup. Well, if those are big shoes to fill, and they certainly are, Bryce Young didn't seem the least bit affected by it.
Yeah, I loved his demeanor. I mean, he was a really interesting guy to talk to. He was very thoughtful, kind of soft-spoken. Reminded me personality-wise a little of Tua, but just like the 3 guys ahead of him and before him, just student of the game, has really embraced the work ethic and the ownership of the offense.
Has room to take off running. Has the first down with about 2 to spare. Chased out by Gervin Hall. When we talked to Bryce Young about being the latest in the line, he said to us, "I'm even-keeled. When you're prepared, pressure fades. Confidence comes from what you do before you get to the game."
Yep.
And he's so well prepared. Obviously brilliantly coached by Steve Sarkisian. Now Bill O'Brien.
He was well coached in high school too. The program he came out of there, Bill Rawlinson was his head coach. I mean, this is a guy who understands how to play the position.
He's in trouble, and he tries to throw it away in the direction of Cameron Latu, the tight end. I think they're going to call that an incomplete pass. They do. Lucky for
There is no
Young.
foul for grounding. Eligible receiver number 81 was in the vicinity.
Well, the reason that Latu was in the vicinity is because he missed the block. I mean, he was responsible for DeAndre Johnson, and he missed the block coming across the formation, but was able to be there for the throwaway and prevent the loss of yardage play.
And Latu's presence in the starting lineup is a story for Alabama at the start of this year. Will Billingsley was their tight end at the end of last season, was extremely productive, but he hasn't fallen completely in line with what Nick Saban expects from an Alabama football player. There's Brian Robinson tackled in space by Tyreek Stevenson. Billingsley is here, but not starting today as Nick Saban tries to hammer home to him the importance of doing what you're supposed to do on and off the field.
Yeah, I mean, you know, last year he was a key factor. When Jalen Waddle got hurt, he became a big factor in the passing game, but it's about doing things right all the time, and apparently Billingsley still has some learning to do in that part of the process.
3rd down and 6. Can Miami get a stop on 3rd down? Alabama's 2 out of 3 on 3rd down so far. We're in the final minute of the opening quarter. Miami fans trying to make it tough on Young. They flush him to the right. A bullet on the move and a first down to Jamison Williams, the Ohio State transfer. What a throw for a 9-yard gain.
Perfect timing, and he had to do this on the run. Watch the pressure come and force him to his right. He still throws this on timing as Williams is coming out of his break for the first down.
He's only 6 feet, Bryce Young, 194 pounds, but big arm, as you just saw, and you've already seen a couple of times here in this impressive opening quarter. He's 9 out of 13 for 103. Robinson crosses midfield, and here's a flag. Looked like Bradley Jennings came in with the helmet. Rod Snodgrass is the referee. This is a Big Ten officiating crew in a non-conference game, SEC versus ACC. It's actually Bolden who came in with the helmet.
Personal foul. Targeting defense, number 21. That play will be under further review.
I thought it was more the shoulder. It's not a defenseless player because it's a running back running with the football, but any hit to the head or neck area can be targeted. Well, no, it was helmet first.
Jennings made the tackle, and then it was Bolden who came in with the helmet. Well, we're with Matt Austin again this season, and delighted that we are longtime on the field referee. What say you, our good friend, about your first call of the season from home?
Well, thanks, Sean and Todd. I agree. This is definitely targeting. He lowers his head, hits him right in the side of his helmet with the crown of his helmet. This should be a pretty easy confirm.
And it looked like when Bolden looked up and saw the replay on the screen, he knew that, kind of dropped his shoulders. Back in a moment. While we were away, the replay booth confirmed the obvious, that was targeting, and Bubba Bolden, the safety, the team leader, has been ejected. That's Ed Reed, one of the great safeties of all time, college and pro football Hall of Famer, their chief of staff, trying to comfort Bubba Bolden. He's been a great influence on Bubba. They watch a lot of film together. Cameron Kitchens, a true freshman, number 24, has taken over in his first game. Bryce Young throws incomplete. Intended for Mechie. That was an untimed down.
That's the end of the first quarter.
And because we just had a lengthy break, they're just going to move to the other end of the field very quickly. Ordinarily there would be a TV timeout here, but there won't be. And that gives us a chance to chat with our pal Todd McShay. Todd, just 3 starters back on the offense for Alabama, 2 of them offensive linemen, Emil Ekiyor and Evan Neal, and you've been really impressed by Evan Neal.
Yeah, everyone loves talking offensive linemen, right? The section position, but Evan Neal, if you watch him in the box jump that he does, I would have probably broken my whole body. I have no idea how he does it. At 350 pounds, he's able to make that jump and spread his legs and then hold his body control. And that's why he's going to be a top 5, top 7 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He's special. And when I talked to the opposing offensive players for Alabama, they said that there was no question who the best offensive lineman was on Alabama, and it was Neal.
That was a 48-inch box jump, split leg. That's a 350-pound man. There's a lot of downside risk there. I mean, what happens if you don't stick the landing? That is not going to end well.
No. For you, or maybe some people around you.
That might have registered on the seismograph if he didn't stick the landing.
He is so good, though. He was the right tackle last year. Of course, Alex Leatherwood, was an award winner, first-round draft pick. Now they moved Neal over to the left side, and just like Todd said, I mean, he's going to be a top 4 or 5 draft pick himself, and he is really special.
Listed at 6'7", 350. After the play fake, wide open, JoJo Earl. He's a freshman. That's his first career catch, and he took it inside the 20 for a 16-yard gain. Tackled by Gervin Hall, the one remaining starting safety now for Miami. Manny Diaz told us we have excellent starting safeties. Hall and Bolden, they're veterans, but true freshmen behind them. And it wasn't going all that well, even with the veteran Bolden out there.
Right now, Manny Diaz doesn't have any answers for Alabama's offense.
Jamison Williams gets 9 more. Tyreek Stevenson made the tackle. Bill O'Brien said yesterday about Williams, Ohio State must be loaded at wide receiver if that guy couldn't really get regularly into action for the Buckeyes.
Well, they are. He's right about that. But this guy has been a welcome addition to Alabama's receiver room.
Play fake by Young, wide open, and it's a touchdown. Alabama picking right up where it left off last year when they hammered Ohio State for the national championship. Cameron Latu, the touchdown.
What a nice drive. I mean, again, Manny Diaz doesn't have any answers. They can't stop the run. If they rush 3 and drop 8, they're not making the quarterback panic. He just buys time. He dumps it off if he has to. And when they do try to come after him, he hurts the man coverage with the right decision and an accurate throw.
That is the first career catch for Latu. Redshirt junior from Salt Lake City, former linebacker. Bryce Young, 12 out of 17 for 137 and 2 touchdowns.
Well, watch the move by Latu on linebacker Keontre Smith. Here's Latu right here. Here's the coverage. A little out and in, and watch him just leave the linebacker right outside, and a wide open target for Bryce Young.
And if Nick Saban's trying to have a teaching moment for Jaleel Billingsley, I'm sure he's pleased about that development too. We have somebody else who can play and play well if you don't want to fall in line.
The execution level so far of the Alabama offense, that was one of the question marks, right? We knew they've recruited well. Nobody has recruited better than Alabama over the last several years. But how quickly
Number 3 is now number 39 on the kick return team.
Level.
Total yardage 200 for Alabama, 30 for Miami. They've run 27 plays to 8 for the Canes. Mike Harley back deep for the kickoff. Now just a small sliver of field that is still in the sunlight. And he'll start from the 25 again. A touchback by Will Riker. What a week 1 this is of college football. There was some action last week, of course, but that was week 0, as it's come to be known. Tonight on ABC, 7:30, a top 5 matchup, 2 national championship contenders for sure. Number 5, Georgia, and number 3, Clemson from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. JT Daniels at quarterback for Georgia, DJ Uiagalelei for Clemson.
Yeah, that's going to be a great football game. I think Georgia with JT Daniels, if he stays healthy and plays the way he did at the end of last year, has a real chance to threaten Alabama in the SEC this year.
D'Eriq King takes off running and has the first down. Second of the game for Miami. He picked up 11.
That's what he gives you. I don't know that we'll see a lot of design quarterback runs out of D'Eriq King today, but those kind of plays, when things break down and he has to extend a play, Brett Lashley wants his quarterback to do that.
Look out! He got hit by Chris Allen, and the ball popped out, and Phil Mathis has it for the tie.
We talked about Will Anderson and Chris Allen. Here's Allen working on the right
field.
tackle.
Fumble recovered by the defense.
He just blows right by him. You cannot block those two guys one-on-one for a long period of time. They're both collapsing the pocket. Both Allen and Anderson had a beat on the quarterback, and that one resulted in a turnover. In 2015 and 2016, this Alabama defense had 50-plus sacks in both years, and they feel like they have that caliber of pass rushers on the edge for this season.
Chris Allen limped off and needed to be helped into the medical tent. Great field position for Alabama. The Miami 33. Young to Slade Bolden for 4. D'Eriq King also limping on the sideline. It was his right knee, which he tore the meniscus and ACL in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma State in late December. Had surgery 8 months ago today. Remarkable pace of the rehab to be ready to go. They said he's 100% and he wasn't going to think about it at all. If the play called for him to run, or the situation called for him to run, he would run. He had nowhere to run that time. Flip Clemente, and he got flipped to the ground. No gain. Nice play by Corey Flagg.
Let's take a look at the hit on De'Aaron King at the end of the play. Both guys involved in that play ended up in the injury tent. See De'Aaron limping off. Hope he's okay for sure.
Chris Allen has had a history of knee injuries as well. He missed all of 2018 with a preseason knee injury. Have a look at Tyler Van Dyke, who would be the backup quarterback for Miami if needed. 3rd down and 6.
Been 3 for 4 on 3rd down so far in the ball game.
They blitz to the Canes, and the tackle is made by Keontre Smith. He drops Brian Robinson for a loss. Now let's see what Nick Saban will do now on 4th and about 10. King looks okay.
Looks frustrated, you know, and rightfully so. They just have not been able to put anything together yet against this Alabama defense. And we talked about this defense potentially being the best Nick has had in the last several years.
Will Reichert's made 16 in a row, but this one's from 51. His career long is 52. He got plenty of it, and the streak is still alive. Will Reichert bombs one from 51.
That looked like your draw off the tee right there. That was beautiful.
Nice little baby draw. The lead goes to 20-0 for Alabama. We'll see if De'Aaron King is back in action when we come back. This season, Allstate will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to that university's general scholarship fund. Thank you once again, Allstate. Mike Harley hoping for a chance to return a kickoff. Alabama dominating, leading 20-0. Will Reichert will have another touchback. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, let's update you. College Park, Maryland hosting West Virginia. Winston Wright Jr. Boog. He's the dynamic weapon from Neil Brown and the Mountaineers, and he's off to the races.
And as usual, early in the season, the one thing lacking is tackling. No tackling by Maryland, and there we go, Kev. Hit his head on the goal post.
98 yards. Letty Brown punched it in. Right now, 17-14 Maryland. Iowa in control at home against Indiana. Good one in Eugene between Oregon and Fresno State. Knotted up. Back to you guys.
Iowa with a big game next weekend in Des Moines against Iowa State on 1st down. Charleston Rambo caught it, got dumped for a 2-yard loss by Brian Branch. Meanwhile, Christopher Allen going to the locker room for further examination and looking despondent, understandably so. Drew Sanders, number 20, has come in for him. Experienced backup. Cameron Harris, nowhere to run. Shoved out of bounds by Brian Branch with help from Jordan Battle.
Malachi Moore, these two, they list him as 1st and 2nd team star. Now today, Malachi Moore is starting at safety in place of DeMarco Helms, and Brian Branch is the star, and they are two outstanding players. And on both those plays, perimeter throws stopped for 0 yardage. Good open field tackling and taking on blocks by the secondary people of Alabama so far.
Miami in jeopardy of a very quick 3 and out. King is 5 for 5 passing. Anderson got a great jump. He got a piece of King up around the face mask. De'Aaron managed to scramble for 5, but went down 5 short of the line to make, and it was Allen's stand-in, Drew Sanders, who ran him down. Boy, how quick off the ball is Will Anderson.
Yeah, he's so quick, and you know he feels like he's playing even faster now because he has more knowledge of the defense.
Miami number 5 is now number 46.
He gets around there, gets enough of D'Eriq King to take his eyes off of downfield and force him up into the pocket. Doesn't get the sack, but as Nick Saban likes to talk about, that is definitely affecting the quarterback.
There's Lou Headley to punt. Wow. Line drive bomb. Kicked on the run. Slade Bolden. Nice tackle by Corey Couch. 52-yard punt, a return of it.
Timeout on the field.
Alabama, second quarter.
Jeremy.
The Chick-fil-A kickoff on ABC is brought to you by DoorDash. Get more from your neighborhood. And Marathon, driven forward.
Well, Bryce Young in his first start at Alabama off to a great start. 15 of 20, 127 yards, a couple touchdowns. The skill that I'm most impressed with is his ability to move in the pocket, to feel the pressure, but never take his eyes off of downfield. So he feels the rush, he moves when he has to, but his eyes are still downfield finding the open receivers, and that is a difficult skill to have, but he is doing it naturally. Then, when he has to make a quick read, he did that for his second touchdown.
Boy, so poised, never in a hurry, doesn't have happy feet. Sets and fires here on target. Slade Bolden, first down. Bumped back by Tyreek Stevenson, but he had the first down with forward progress. Todd McShay.
Yeah, Sean, I watched Bryce before the game. He threw about 50, 60 throws in the pregame, and every single ball, didn't matter if it was 10 yards or 50 yards, was a little bit high. And I just walked on the field and I said, why? Why is the placement there? He's like, because it's so hard for defenders to get it. I was really impressed with his absolute accuracy.
Jace McClellan, another missed tackle by Miami, and into Canes territory went McClellan.
You know, the other thing, Todd, that I noticed in watching him today and then on the practice field in Tuscaloosa on Thursday is his ball is very soft. It's a very catchable pass. I mean, he's got zip on his arm. He can make any throw you want, but the ball always looks soft as it's moving towards receivers.
It's catchable.
Yeah.
We asked Bill O'Brien, he's 6 feet tall. He said, yeah, but he doesn't get balls batted down. Finds the seams, has a pretty high release. McClellan again after a 15-yard gain gets 3 more.
But see, you could say the same thing for Bryce Young as we said for Mac Jones, and we said for Jalen, as we said for Tua. The best friend of a quarterback is a good running game. And right now, Alabama is still able to run the football when and how they want. And that just sets everything up, whether it's play action pass, whether it's RPO game. It takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback.
Young on target, Mechie. Oh, high stepping. And out of bounds with another first down. Mechie wasn't involved in a lot of their off-season. Had a couple of lower leg injuries. I'm not sure Nick Saban will like that.
Watch the route, though. Watch just a little pause and then back inside working on a linebacker. That's a mismatch to begin with. The acceleration of Mechie. What a beautiful route.
18-yard gain, 5 catches already. He had 8 in their national title win against Ohio State in South Florida. Brian Robinson back in to the 25-yard line. Wayman Steed whiffed on tackle attempt. Robinson lost his helmet. Robinson will come off. And we're more than midway through the second quarter now. Lots of stars from yesteryear. In the case of Devontae Smith, yesteryear was not long ago. Here today, it's obviously an off weekend in the NFL with the season opening coming this week. Young throws it away in the general direction of Cameron Latu. And you could have quite a game if you lined up all the guys who are on the
Oh,
sideline.
my goodness. Be a good pickup game, right?
Landon Dickerson, the center last year, wasn't able to play in the title game due to a knee injury. But we're told among those expected to be here today from Miami, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Warren Sapp, Ebron James, Brevin Jordan, Jalen Phillips, Reggie Wayne. Here's 3rd down and 8. And that's just a partial list of Canes who are here and not enjoying it, certainly. 5-man rush, Young, 1st down. Latu didn't have a catch for his career, has 2 touchdowns. $25 yards for Cameron Latu.
Well, watch Bryce Young set the protection this way. Pressure is coming from here. He calls turn protection. He gets the back over there. He steps a little bit to the right until he sees Latu open in the middle and gets him the football. Awareness, understanding, recognition, and then getting the football where he needs to on time.
And one thing's for sure, if Miami does want to return to national prominence, they need to tackle better. The tackling has been dreadful here in this first half, this first quarter and a half. So Cameron Latu, who did not have a career catch coming into today, has caught 2, both for touchdowns. The extra point by Reichert made it 27-0.
Cheese is here to honor fans as dedicated to college football as Cheez-It is to cheese. If that's you, use the hashtag MVCheeseContest to show us why you're worthy.
Nick Saban trying to continue to impart a message to Jaleel Billingsley. Probably something along the lines of, we want you to be fully a part of this. But they have such a great culture there. You know, Nick told us yesterday the players really largely take care of the culture themselves. They keep each other in line. So you can't have one guy who isn't doing the same thing as everything else. There is a flag down on the kickoff. Alabama might have been offside. The Aflac trivia question, and it's a good one to start
Offside.
the year.
Kicking team number 40, 5-yard penalty from the touchback spot, 1st down.
De'Aaron King is 24 years old. We want to know how many starting quarterbacks this week, week 1 in the NFL, opening day starters, are younger than he is. By the way, he's more than 4 years older than Bryce Young. Bryce Young just turned 20 in July. Donald Chaney in running back. Quick pop. It's 6. The answer is 6, including each of the last 3 starting quarterbacks at Alabama who've already gone on to the NFL. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones. He's also older, as you saw, Justin Herbert. And there are 5 24-year-olds. Zach Wilson, obviously, is going to make his debut for the Jets. Trevor Lawrence for the Jags. He's the youngest. But also 24 are Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, and Kyler Murray. He's older than 6 and just slightly younger than 5 others. He's under duress again and swung down. It's Christian Harris, who Manny Diaz, the Miami coach, called the best linebacker in college football when we talked to Manny this week.
Well, they brought both inside backers. To'o To'o was first, and then Christian Harris second, and did a nice job of getting to the quarterback.
Loss of 4, 2nd and 14. 4 wide receivers. Yep, there he goes. Will Anderson.
You can't block this guy one-on-one and have a lot of success. He's too quick off the ball. This time they're trying to pull a backside guard to help. They actually have 2 guys accounted for him. Neither one of them stayed with the block, and Anderson just kept working his way to the quarterback.
Sophomore from Hampton, Georgia. Really came on the second half of last season. Obviously learning as he was going along. Didn't have a sack in the first 6, had 7 in the last 7. In the flat, Cameron Harris. He gets walloped at the 44.
You know, obviously this is not all on D'Eriq King as Miami's forced to punt again, but we talked about the Alabama quarterbacks, right? The last 3 going to be starting in day 1 in the NFL.
Number 5 of Miami will be number 46 for this play.
The last Miami quarterback to start an NFL game, former Hurricane, was Ken Dorsey, all the way back in December of 2008 for the Cleveland Browns in a 14-0 loss to the Bengals. Dorsey's now 40 years old, and he's the passing game coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. It's been a long time since Miami has had that kind of quarterback. They used to have a ton.
Lou Headley, the punt. There is a flag down. Irvin Hall interfered with Slade Bolden, it seemed.
I'm not sure if he was blocked into Bolden by Jamison Williams, number 1, or not, but Miami was in position to really down the ball deep inside the 5-yard line. Big Ten officiating crew. Big day for the Big Ten, big weekend. A lot of conference matchups, a couple really good games.
Personal foul, kick catch interference, kicking team number 26, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
.402 to go in the first half. You're watching the Chick-fil-A kickoff game on ABC. Here's a look at the action from the AT&T 5G Skycam. Let's actually look now at the Skycam. First and 10 Alabama, 4 minutes to go in the half. Big hole for Roydell Williams. He lost the ball. And I believe they're going to rule him down, and they do after an 8-yard gain. Cameron Kinchins.
Ruling on the field's a fumble.
Tackle.
Recovered by Miami.
Okay.
First down.
Well, that's news to everybody on the field, as the offense and defense for Alabama and Miami, respectively, were still standing there. But after talking about it, looks like they got it right.
It was a good, hard tackle by the freshman Kitchens, who's in there because of the injury to Bolden. First, you couldn't tell if the knee was down before the ball came out, but the ball clearly came out as he's diving forward. So a lack of ball security by Williams, and a really nice play, beating the ball carrier right at the spot by Cameron Kitchen.
Who's a true freshman playing his first college game out of Miami Northwestern High School powerhouse program. He won 3 state titles there, did Kitchens. And he'll get the turnover chain. Hard to celebrate that too much when you're down 27-0. But it has
Going on
become
the field
tradition.
was a fumble recovered by the defense. That plays under further review.
By the replay official, Rick Nelson. Now, the turnover chain debuted in 2017, and it has been much imitated now in a variety of ways around the country.
Well, the interesting thing too is, I mean, there's a lot of hype surrounding it, but it's actually been something that is, you know, really inspired and motivated their team as well, because since the inception of that in the 17 season, they've had 92, and this would be 93 forced turnovers, which coming into this year was tied for the 3rd most in that period of time, tied with Iowa and Syracuse, the only teams ahead of them. Clemson, the leader, with 97, Alabama with 95.
Oh, I wanted to guess.
Oh. We already did Affleck.
I guess they're looking at the replay to see who recovered the fumble. Matt Austin, let's bring you in. You look like you're ready to go. We can see you. The audience can't. That's a shame to waste the movie star good looks. But
Yeah,
how
Sean,
are you, buddy? What do you think?
Doing very well, thanks. Yeah, you're exactly right. They're looking at this recovery because the Miami player looked like he had it between his legs, and that's not allowed to have possession of the ball when it's between your knees. You have to have your hands or your arms controlling it. And you can see right there that the Alabama player got it and it was on his knees. So I think they're going to give this ball back to Alabama.
Should be a big relief to Roydell Williams after his animated message from Nick Saban. We should mention that it's an experimental replay situation here today. Big Ten officials on the field and in the replay booth. Rick Nelson is the replay official. Here's Ron Snodgrass.
After review, there was a fumble, however, was recovered by Alabama. First down at the 35-yard line.
Good work by Rick Nelson.
Yeah, I got to give the chain back, right? You don't get to keep it.
No.
You got to go back to work.
But the celebration still stands.
Yeah.
You can't undo that. Back into the safekeeping place it goes. But this game is part of an experiment. The Big Ten is the only one of the Power 5 conferences that does not use collaborative replay, where you have replay officials at the stadium, but also somewhere else, back in the headquarters, looking at monitors. So today, Gene Simcoe, the Big 12, is actually in Pittsburgh at DB Sports headquarters, and he is weighing in on the replays with Rick Nelson. Now the officials want to continue to talk about this. So we don't know if it was Gene Simcoe back in Pittsburgh who suggested to Rick Nelson, perhaps you take a better look at this. Ultimately, the decision maker is the replay official who's here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Okay, the down will be second down. Second down.
That's what they're trying to clarify. Second down, probably where to place the ball.
Well, because it was not a change of possession, right? Because Miami was ruled to have never recovered the ball.
Matt Austin at his lovely home, nodding his head in agreement with you, Todd.
That's a tough break for Miami. I mean, in a game where they have had little to nothing go their way, a turnover there, getting a short field right before halftime could have been at least something to salvage this first half for the Hurricanes.
Roydell Williams, a sophomore, breathes a sigh of relief. Bryce Young off quickly to Javon Baker. He gets taken out of bounds by Gervin Hall and Tyreek Stevenson. Here's Molly McGrath.
Well, Roydell Williams might be breathing a sigh of relief, but his shoulder might be sore because Brian Robinson Jr. went up to him, punched him on the shoulder and said, "Come on, man, you can't do that. You have to be better than that." And B-Rob told me it's his job to hold these guys accountable. Everyone was trying to calm Williams down, saying it's okay, but not B-Rob.
Roydell out of Hueytown, Alabama. Prolific high school career, rushed for just under 6,000 yards. Very highly recruited. Stayed at home in Alabama. Zach McLeod drives back Brian Robinson for a 2-yard loss. McLeod in his 6th year at Miami. A 5th-year senior year ago, got the extra year because of COVID. Everybody did, and he's made a transition from linebacker to defensive end.
Yeah, and he's got a really good connection with Manny Diaz. When he came in as a linebacker, Manny Diaz was his position coach and defensive coordinator. He's been with him a long time, and he's really kind of thrived at that defensive end position. And that's been a position, a feature position on this Hurricane defense ever since Manny's been back in town.
Bryce Young over the middle and dropped by Trayshawn Holden.
Trayshawn Holden, another young player trying to earn his stripes and some reps, and he just, watch, all he's going to do is try to run before he secures the catch. He turns his eyes upfield, he's thinking about the run after the catch, and he just doesn't make a clean catch.
That would have been his first career catch. He's a sophomore from Kissimmee, Florida.
Alabama has recruited the state of Florida so well under Nick Saban, particularly wideouts. Got 3 young ones on the roster right now. Jerry Jeudy.
Miami shows blitz, rushes 5, Young throws behind Cameron Latu. There's tight coverage by Amari Carter. Tomorrow on ABC from Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, number 9 Notre Dame and Florida State. The Irish winners of 32 in a row against unranked opponents. That's the school record. And then back here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium Monday night to cap off this Labor Day weekend, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Louisville and Ole Miss, the first meeting ever in football between those two schools. And the Rebels will be without Coach Lane Kiffin, who tested positive for COVID. He is vaccinated. So this morning, when he appeared on game day, no interim coach mentioned. He said the responsibilities will be largely spread out among the staff. James Burnup's first punt for Alabama goes out of bounds at the 20, and here's Kevin.
Sean, we got a new season and a new studio coming up on the State Farm Halftime Report. Penn State's defense survives on the road. Oklahoma survives at home against Tulane. Plenty of highlights, plus Booger McFarland will break down the keys with the quarterbacks in tonight's big showdown between Georgia and Clemson. We'll see you at the half.
And we look forward to that, Kevin. Thank you. Minute 57, 3 timeouts for Miami. Trying to get on the board before the half.
They deferred the opening kickoffs. They'll get the ball to start. They need some momentum. I mean, they got to put a drive together that hopefully can finish with some points. You've got an experienced quarterback. You got 3 timeouts. This is a critical drive for D'Eriq King and the Miami Hurricanes.
Charleston Rambo to catch. Gave him the first down. Cameron Harris gets 2.
We talked about Rhett Lashley, the offensive coordinator. This is not his first go-round against Alabama. He was offensive coordinator at Auburn for 4 years.
Good throw and catch. Keyshawn Smith down near another first down. Jalen Armour-Davis made the tackle. He stayed in bounds, didn't get the first down, about 2 yards short. Lashley's a young coach still, 38 years old. Seems like he's been around forever. Cameron Harris again. He's been the offensive coordinator at Samford, Arkansas State, Auburn, UConn, SMU, and now in his second year here at Miami.
Well, they thought they were going to slip a run in for the first down there. He doesn't want to waste a timeout, but they're taking a lot of time. I know you got 3, but again, this is a critical drive to score points, and you were letting time run off the clock too freely right now.
You have to go for it, you'd think, on 4th down. If they don't get it, that's a moot point. They do get it, and Cameron Harris upended in the open field by Josh Jobe, a returning starter at cornerback, preseason first team All-SEC this year.
Another Florida kid out of Miami that Nick Saban recruited.
And whistle stopped the play for a false start against the Hurricanes.
A little sloppy operation right now. You know, I mean, the clock stops temporarily to move the chains for a first down. You still don't have to use a timeout, but then they get the false start and they move themselves back 5 yards. You mentioned Rhett Lashley at Auburn.
False start. Offense. Number 11, 5-yard penalty. First down. The penalty includes the option for a 10-second runoff. Miami has chosen to take a timeout. Their first of the half.
Lots of great action tonight, tomorrow, and Monday. As this week 1 of college football will conclude on Labor Day night right here in this building with Louisville and Ole Miss.
Well, we mentioned no Lane Kiffin. The good thing for Ole Miss is Matt Corral, his quarterback, is back, and he's a heck of a player. Knows that offense, knows what they're doing. And you know, Sean, I was mentioning Rhett Lashley going against Alabama's defense, Nick Saban, for 4 years when he was at Auburn. 2013 and 14, they won in 13. They lost a shootout in 14. They had a quarterback similar to D'Eriq King and Nick Marshall. However, the next 2 years, 15 and 16, he did not have that kind of quarterback, and they had the kind of offensive output that, unfortunately, he's suffering today. 82 yards of total offense in the first half. so far against Alabama.
De'Aaron King throws it away. There's no question. King's a very talented guy.
Yeah.
You talked about the lack of quality quarterbacks in their program in recent years. He's an excellent quarterback. But even though this offensive line is experienced, they're getting manhandled by Alabama.
Well, and again, at the top of the show we talked about where's the strength of Alabama. Now the offense has been better today than we thought they might be. The defense has been what we expected. A dominant defensive front led by Will Anderson. Chris Allen left the game earlier. We don't know his status.
Throw behind Mike Harley. It'll be 3rd down and 15. 25 seconds to go until the half. Under Nick Saban, when leading by 7 or more at the half, Alabama is 134-4. That's 97% of the time. When they're up by 7 or more at the half, they win.
You got to get half the yardage here if you're De'Aaron King. I mean, you've got to go for it on 4th down, but you don't want to be 4th and 15.
Pressure from King's left. He got it off to Charleston Rambo. You know, they said they were going to try to take some deep shots, several of them to Charleston Rambo, but they can't block well enough to have the time to do that.
I mean, that wasn't even a blitz. It was an extra rusher, but it was only 4 rushers. But that time Brian Branch was there. It kind of fooled the offensive line. It wasn't an overload blitz, but De'Aaron King had to get rid of the football before he wanted to because pressure was there.
Miami will go for it from its own 45 on 4th down and 10 with 20 to go in the half. King giving a nice pocket that time, and a beautiful throw and catch by Keyshawn Smith. 1st down, 35-yard line.
There's no question if you give De'Aaron King time, if you give him a pocket, he can make those throws.
Charge timeout, Miami. Their second. This is a 30-second timeout.
They'd like to have something positive to happen and get some points. Andy Borregales, true freshman, hoping he gets a chance to try his first field goal as a Miami Hurricane. He has a strong leg like his brother Jose, who was their kicker last year and won the Lou Groza Award as the best kicker in the country. He had an excellent training camp with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jose will be kicking for somebody in the NFL.
Right now you wonder who can step up and make a play for Miami. Is it going to be Rambo? Is it going to be Mallory, who only has 1 catch? I mean, coming into the ballgame, we thought Will Mallory, who's right here, would be a matchup issue in favor of Miami. They've not been able to get him the football.
He has 1 catch for 7 yards. King, plenty of time, lofts it up, going deep for Rambo, and a flag flies as he got tangled up with Daniel Wright. Well, their coaches told us they'd like to take several deep shots with Rambo. They finally launched 1 deep.
It's the right matchup, too. You see, Daniel Wright is a backup safety who's in the game because they're in dime defense. 6 defensive backs.
Pass interference, defense, number 3, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Right down to the ground.
Yeah, I think Rambo's the only guy that made contact on that play, not Daniel Wright. It was a good matchup going Rambo against the safety. I think that's a poor call that went against Daniel Wright right there.
Bama fans agree with you, and there are more Alabama fans here. This is only about a 3-hour drive from the campus in Tuscaloosa.
Well, the big difference, though, if that's the NFL, that ball's inside the 5-yard line, a chance to go for a touchdown. Now, there's only 5 seconds.
They're going to run another play. Maybe just try to get in the middle of the field for Borregales. Yes. Not enough time to really feel confident.
Charge timeout, Miami, their 3rd and final timeout.
For another play.
Now you have to try to get points here. You get the ball to start the 3rd quarter. You're just looking for little tiny victories right now if you're Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes.
So here's Andy Borregales stepping in for his brother Jose. They're very close. And Molly McGrath talked to the Borregales during the week and Jose texted Andy to remind them of their shared pre-kick routine. Get comfortable, find an aiming point. Left knee, lean shoulders back, ready to go. Checkpoint accomplished, kick good. The Boric ally have been kind to Manny Diaz.
It's the end of the first half.
37-yard field goal. And a little consolation to take into the locker room for the Kings. Our score at halftime is Alabama 27, Miami 3. The State Farm halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Welcome to the State Farm Halftime Report.
The defending champs, #1 in the land, starting Bryce Young for the first time in his career, and he doesn't look phased at all, Booger.
Oh, Bryce Young looks so comfortable, and the relationship between he and new offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien looks just fine.
My goodness, 27-3 Alabama at the half. By the way, Young, the third player in Alabama history with 3 passing touchdowns in his starting debut, joining Joe Namath and Mac Jones.
That's pretty good company
Turned
there.
out really well, as you see the offensive numbers there for Alabama so far stacked up against Miami, and that's a reflection also on how great Alabama's defense is and will be as the season continues. New studio, welcome. It's week 1. Booger McFarland and Kevin Nagandi with you, and my goodness, we had a fantastic matchup. It was Big Ten-style football. And some people will say no offense. Well, plenty of good defense. Penn State on the road at Wisconsin. Sean Clifford to Jahan Dotson.
And that's just a blown coverage by Whiskey there. Easy touchdown, pitch and catch for Clifford.
Penn State up 7-0, and then Chez Malusi from Clemson, the transfer, going in.
Needed to see more of this. Wisconsin rushed for 180 yards on the day.
10-all, Noah Cain fighting in there in the fourth quarter. He'll score. No extra point. They miss it. But you can't have this happen. Graham Mertz, 4th and goal in the red zone, down 6.
Too many times Wisconsin got in the red zone, and this happened. Turning the football over, just can't do it, Graham Mertz.
Another pick sealed the game, and it's Jaquan Brisker and Jair Brown, the defense for Penn State. A year after starting 0-5, they are 1-0, knocking off Wisconsin, ending their 16-game winning streak on home openers. Meanwhile, number 18 Iowa taking on number 17 Indiana. I love this kid, Tyler Goodson. He's got some wheels.
Yes, and that was too easy. Indiana did not set the edge. That's a walk-in touchdown from 60 yards out.
Iowa on the board first. Michael Penix is back, but this is not as planned for Tom Allen's squad. Oh, through the hands, and then the defense responds. Riley Moss with real estate.
Yes, and that's not on Michael Penix, the receiver. Hey, your job description, catch the ball, and he did.
No, Spencer Petras says, all right, well, my job description sometimes as the Iowa quarterback, run the football.
Love the play design. Lead draw, have the running back block for the quarterback, walk in.
Iowa in control big, 31-3 at the break. Next for them, a road trip to Iowa State on ABC next weekend, and Iowa State hosting Northern Iowa, 28.5-point favorites. Show me the Quan. It's Quan Hampton.
Kind of the theme of week 1, Kev. A lot of missed tackles, 2 there by Iowa State.
Yeah, ugly. Missed tackling in the secondary you saw. Right now, Iowa State is down 7-3. That game in the second quarter. Michigan, 2 wins last year in the Big House, hosting Western Michigan. It looks like we have a quarterback in Jim Harbaugh's offense, Cade McNamara.
Oh, it's about time, and that's a good play. A little lead screen there. Somebody blocking for you on the outside.
Michigan on the board first, 7-0, and then Western Michigan responds. Ladarius Jefferson would score, and then Cade McNamara to Ronnie Bell, bye-bye.
Little slot fade, you stack the cornerback, and then you just win that one on recruiting day because I can go get it and you can't.
Bad news, though, for Bell in Michigan. He left the game due to a leg injury, did not return. A.J. Henning, again, explosion. We haven't seen this from the Wolverines offense.
Creativity, a little trickery, a little reverse there. Good to see the Wolverines putting up some points in the Big House.
A.J. Henning, 74 yards, 47-14 the final. They rushed for 334 yards. Steve Sarkisian, first game as the head coach at Texas, and he's got Louisiana, number 23 in the land, with 10 returning offensive starters. Hudson Card to Bijan Robinson.
If you can't hand it to Bijan, throw it to him. Blown coverage there by Louisiana.
Best player on the field right now, 7-3, Texas early on. Meanwhile, Oregon taking on Fresno State. And Oregon, number 11 in the country. Kayvon Thibodeau. Mel Kiper has him number 1 on the big board for the 2022 draft.
He's the best player in America, hands down, Kev.
I mean, forces that little fumble there. Oregon recovers. 3 plays later, C.J. Verdell punches it in. Oregon on the board. This felt like we were going to see the Ducks offense move and feel good. And then this, bad news. Thibodeau gets rolled up by a teammate. It's an ankle, and he was seen with a walking boot.
Yes, I would have put a boot on, too. With all the money I have in my future, I would have sat down, too.
Not a good look there for him. You just hope he's okay long term. We think so. Jake Haener, the keeper. No Thibodeau, and he scores himself. Fools everybody. Fresno State keeping this interesting. They go for 2. Juan Rodriguez. We're tied at 21 in Eugene.
You could tell when Thibodeau went out, there was a defensive letdown from the Ducks, Kev.
Anthony Brown says, okay, the keeper here. Woo! The wheels, the adjustment from the BC transfer. He'll score, and Oregon now up 31-24. And that is a final as Cristobal squad holds on.
Yeah, no look ahead from the Ducks. Big one coming up, though.
Yes, it is. On the road against Ohio State. By the way, Oklahoma looked like they were about to just blow out Tulane in the second half. It was close in Norman. Highlights coming your way.
You're watching the State Farm Halftime Report.
And Kevin back with you. Number 2, Oklahoma. It's supposed to be a home game for Tulane. Of course, game was moved due to Hurricane Ida, and the effects or thoughts are with the people in the region of Louisiana as well as Mississippi. Kennedy Brooks opted out last year, up the gut there, and in Norman, they're feeling good. They're up. Spencer Rattler, his first touchdown of the season to Mario Williams.
Yeah, and Lincoln Riley, nice play there. Get the ball to the outside and allow your guy to make a play in space.
They're up 20, Boog, and we think, okay, second half, it's going to be easy, right? Alex Grinch's defense struggled a little bit. Michael Pratt, too. I am William Wallace! And he finds freedom in the end zone. Tulane within 5. But here it is. After getting the onside kick, 4th and 13, Pratt just falls short.
And Pratt had a phenomenal day, showed a ton of heart. Might not be the wisest decision on 4th and 13.
Oklahoma survives to win this game 40-35. Speaking of 35, Cincinnati all over Miami of Ohio. Luke Fickell's squad right now just feeling good with Desmond Ridder. Maryland, West Virginia, College Park right here. Neil Brown, I really like West Virginia's squad. Letty Brown making the catch from Jared Dagey. Brown's got some wheels to the outside. West Virginia up 7-3. Talia Tagovailoa to Dante Demas. And, you know, Maryland has some key players on the outside when it comes to weapons.
They got a ton of weapons on the outside. You can't cover them one-on-one, and West Virginia couldn't right then.
All right, here goes Tagovailoa. Has some time. That was a really nice move.
Beautiful play design. That little screen blitz coming. Perfect play into the blitz. The screen.
All right, under 12 minutes to go in the first half. Here comes Letty Brown again. Neil Brown's team can be dangerous.
Yes, give Letty Brown the ball more.
21-20 right now, West Virginia at the break. That game on ESPN. Let's check in our great performance from today, brought to you by State Farm. Former Penn State quarterback Will Levis looking really good for Kentucky. How about 367 and 4 touchdowns?
Yes, and bringing Kentucky's offense into the 21st
century. As Kentucky gets the win against UL. Hey, we got a really good game coming your way. That is tomorrow night. Sunday Night Baseball, NL West rivalry. Dodgers, Giants battling for positioning at the top of that division. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
This halftime report is presented by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't settle for products that give you a sort of...
This halftime report is presented by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Boog and Kevin back with the biggest game of the season. We're going to see on ABC tonight. Georgia, Clemson, 7:30 Eastern. JT, DJ, JT. The quarterbacks and their numbers, but it's really the guys behind them, Boog.
Without a doubt. And we know what Tony Elliott's going to do for the Clemson quarterback. It's more about Todd Monken. Are you going to open the offense up and allow JT Daniels to attack the weakest part of that Clemson defense, the back seven?
We will see how that plays out in prime time. Speaking of the quarterbacks and the guy behind him, Bill O'Brien. First time the OC for Alabama. Bryce Young making them look good. 3 touchdowns so far. Miami getting the ball down 27-3 after this.
You're watching the Chick-fil-A kickoff game from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. The defending national champions, the Alabama Crimson Tide, preseason #1. Looking very much like the best team in the country, with Bryce Young making his first career start. Tremendous, Todd Blackledge.
Yeah, he really was. He just showed so much poise and the ability to move in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, find throwing lanes, never panicking, hitting the right guy, 70% completion, over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not a bad first half for a guy making his first start as the Alabama quarterback.
It's a history-making first start, and he threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half. The only other Alabama quarterbacks to throw 3 TD passes in their first career start, Joe Namath and Mac Jones. And he has another half to become the first ever with 4 touchdown passes. And our producer Josh Hoffman, always helpful, told us that if he gets 5, he would also be the first person to do that. That's something to look forward to, Josh. Always helpful.
That UConn math education, I guess.
Yes,
right?
proud graduate of UConn, although we're not going to mention that the Huskies went down to Holy Cross today. Have I not been saying for 3 years now, Bob Chesney, the coach at Holy Cross, is a star. The guy is a star. Will Reichert's kickoff will not be returned. Speaking of stars, he's Todd Blackledge. And Bryce Young, terrific. If you're Miami now, what do you try to do here in the second half?
You just have to condense this and say, okay, we did not play well in the first half. We did something good at the end of the first half, the end of the second quarter. Now we just have to try to put some things together, build some building blocks, some positive pieces for the rest of our season. You know, because again, when we talk to Manny Diaz, they talk so much about, you know, are we ready to play our best game on this kind of a stage? We haven't done that yet. Well, no, they were not ready in the first half to play their best on this stage. But they still have 30 minutes to do something.
Christian Harris, the tackle, to dump Mike Harley for a loss. De'Aaron King is now 12 out of 13 passing, but for just 76 yards. He's had very little time against this relentless Alabama pass rush headlined by Will Anderson.
29 yards rushing, just puts everything on the quarterback. There's Mallory with just his second catch of the ball game.
Well, Sean, you guys were talking about keeping it simple. That's what Manny Diaz told me he wants to do. He said, you got to just get that first down, then we can get some momentum. We've had some plays and some opportunities, but penalties are absolutely killing us. And he said his message to De'Aaron King is don't look at the scoreboard, don't get frustrated, don't try to do too much. And I asked him if he was going to run more in this second half. He said, we're going to do whatever we need to do to win this football game.
King on target to Mike Harley for the first down. Harley, their leading receiver last year. There's Charleston Rambo out near the 40-yard line. Will Anderson there. We talked to Will Anderson, Todd, the other day. He said, I view myself as a complete player. I'm not just a pass rusher. He worked hard in the offseason to be better in pass coverage and in space.
And against the run. And that's what we saw right there. I mean, perfect technique, just riding the block down, keeping his hands free, and then there to wrap up the ball carrier. If you want to be a complete player, it's all of that. You know, he was just a defensive end in high school, so he had the pass rush piece down. But it's the coverage piece. It's the other things of being an outside linebacker in this defense that requires more from him. And he's answering that.
Started every game last year for Alabama as a true freshman. Nice throw, nice catch. Harley lost his helmet as he was tackled. But he has the first down to the Alabama 44-yard line.
And this is exactly what you want if you're Miami. Come out of the locker room, get some momentum, make some plays, piece some positive things together. D'Eriq King's got him on the Alabama side of the 50-yard line now to start the third quarter.
16 out of 17 for the game with the 5 for 5 on this drive. Rocket, that's caught by Xavier Restrepo, a freshman. He was a freshman last year, but he gets to be a freshman again because of the bonus COVID year. That's the second career catch. He caught one last year at Duke.
Second time we've seen that little play in this drive. They ran it to the other side a couple plays ago. Just a hurry-up tempo play. You've got stacked receivers on both sides. The top receiver's a blocker. The second guy's just a little quick screen.
Michael Redding, the last catch. They like to play very fast, but they were never able to get a rhythm in the first half. They have one here to start the second half. Cameron Harris thrown down by Henry To'o. Chris Braswell in the game as well. Braswell backs up Will Anderson. We talked to Anderson the other day. He raved about Braswell. He said he is going to be an unbelievable pass rusher for Alabama. Sophomore from Baltimore.
Well, he's in there now, and the only negative thing of Alabama in this game right now is the status of Chris Allen, who went out early in the ball game, has not returned. You wonder what his status is.
Third down and 5. Cam Harris has the first down and much more inside the 10. Jordan Battle finally got him down. Let's get a quick update on Chris Allen from Molly.
Yeah, Chris Allen is out for the game with a foot injury, guys.
Well, he is an outstanding player. You hope that's not a serious injury. Braswell is going to get a lot of reps today.
First and goal. Cameron Harris danced down to the 6. Banged down by Daniel Wright. Daniel's the brother of Major Wright, who was a standout at Florida, played in the NFL with the Bears and Bucks.
This is the part of the field where you think Will Mallory might factor into things for D'Eriq King. Here he is right here, number 85. Very talented tight end. D'Eriq King has a lot of confidence in him. Big target.
Fake the run to Cheney, and King throws it away.
Well defended by Alabama. They had the underneath, which was Mallory, and they had the deeper receiver in the end zone covered, and all D'Eriq King could do was throw that one away. You got to believe this is 4-down territory too. They went for the field goal at the end of the first half, but field goals don't do them any good at this point. So you got to believe Rhett Lashley's thinking 2 plays here to try to find a way into the end zone.
Third and goal from the 6. Opening possession of the second half. Cheney down to the goal line, and they're marking him down short. Byron Young prevented the touchdown. They get over the ball very quickly. They are going to go for it on 4th down and goal from inside the 1. King to the goal line, and he did not get in.
Now that's a tough play. It's a quarterback sneak, but you're sneaking from 5 yards off the football. You're not under the center trying to sneak underneath the blocks.
Playing on the field,
catching this ball
short.
5 yards away. And by the time he gets towards the goal line, Alabama had won the line of scrimmage there and kept King clearly out of the end zone.
And that was the play on the previous play. Curious to see if Cheney got in.
One day.
Let's go back and take a look at the last sequence. This is the 3rd down play, and you'll see it's very clear Donald Cheney did not get in. Remember, his knees down with the ball at the 1-yard line. So Miami didn't need to wait for a replay review to make sure they didn't score.
We talked about Will Anderson improving as a run defender. He was the first guy in the backfield pulling D'Eriq King back. Aggressive pylon cam gives us a great shot at that goal line. D'Eriq King does not get the ball to the goal line. Tremendous goal line stand by the Crimson Tide on a hurry-up play. He got lined up and still got the stop.
Alabama offense on the field for the first time in the second half. Ryan Robinson out of the end zone. Gets them breathing room across the 5. Good leg tackle by Takori Couch.
That was a really good tackle because Robinson had some space. If he doesn't get him on the ground, it's a first down easily for Alabama and breathing room for Bryce Young. As it is, that tackle brings up a second down play.
Couch emerged late last year as a freshman. Manny Diaz said in the end here he was our best corner. Play fake to Robinson. Young in the end zone, in trouble, and throws it away. And will that be grounding in the end zone? The officials are talking about it.
Quarterback was outside the pocket.
They want a safety on the Miami sideline. The officials are going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it. He definitely looked like he did get outside the tackle box. It was a delayed blitz by the linebacker from Miami that forced him out of the pocket. Nice defensive call of pressure by Manny Diaz as we wait for this decision.
The quarterback was outside the pocket, and the ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. There is no foul for grounding. Third down.
I think the discussion was, did the ball cross the line of scrimmage? Because he clearly was outside the box. But watch the delayed rush by Corey Flagg, number 11. He slips in there untouched. They force him out.
The ball did get across the line of scrimmage, too. The line of scrimmage, the 6.
Outside the pocket, and does the ball get across the line of scrimmage? Both were true, so no penalty.
I want to bring in Matt Austin if we can after this play to ask a question about mechanics of officiating. Young back in the end zone again on 3rd and 5. That question might have to wait because there goes Jamison Williams to the house. Touchdown Alabama. Diaz screaming at the referee Ron Snodgrass, but the replays seem to confirm that the officials got the play right on the previous play before this touchdown.
Well, just great separation on DJ Ivey.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer, defense number 12, the blow to the head. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
You see the speed and the acceleration of Jamison Williams. Just got great separation out of a bunch formation, and the safety who could have been there to help was locked in on helping on John Mechie on the other side of the formation, and Williams ran free behind the defense.
Showing that great speed the coaches talked about. 94-yard play, the extra point good. And what a rapid turn of events. The goal line stand by Bama when Miami looked like it had scored a touchdown, and then this quick strike.
This is Williams. This is Mechie. This safety right here is going to get caught thinking the ball is going to go to Mechie. Watch him favor the short side of the field with Mechie instead of playing deep third, and the young quarterback made him pay for that mistake.
The Chick-fil-A Kickoff on ABC is brought to you by Mercedes EQ.
Roof open here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on a gorgeous day in the capital of Atlanta. Roof open with an eye toward COVID precautions, and so the seating area is not required to wear masks with the roof open.
Just think about what just start, right? Miami gets the ball to start the third quarter. They have a great drive. They come up short on third down. They go for it on fourth. They get stopped. Now they've got them stopped, 3rd and 5, and they give up a long touchdown pass. What a turnaround in a short amount of time that stole any momentum Miami had and gave it right back to Alabama.
Kicked off from the 50 because of the roughing the passer penalty on the 4th touchdown of the day thrown by Bryce Young. So he is the record setter all by himself now. The Alabama record for quarterback touchdown passes in a debut, 4 by Bryce Young. Not shattering. I guess it is sort of shattering the previous record set by Joe Namath and Mac Jones. A lot of football left, 9.5 to go, third quarter. On the run, King, and it's dropped by Xavier Restrepo. You're going to get hit hard. You might as well catch it. Brian Branch was there for Alabama.
The reason he was open is because De'Aaron King showed run. He was making that look like a quarterback sweep, which is a play that Miami runs with De'Aaron King. And then he loaded up to throw the football at the last minute.
Timeout, injured defensive player.
That's a ball that Restrepo needs to come down with.
Looks like Brian Branch is cramping. It'll give us a chance to remind you what's coming up next. Probably one of the great first weekend, week one games in the history of college football. Number 5 Georgia, number 3 Clemson. From Charlotte. First meeting between those two since they split a home-and-home series back in 2013 and 2014. That's a neutral site. Athens about 194 miles away. Clemson 135 miles from Charlotte.
You know, it's pretty clear. It's been clear the last few years in college football that there are 3 teams that kind of have been a little bit above everybody. Alabama and Clemson, 2 of them. Ohio State, a 3rd one. Oklahoma is kind of right there, knocking at the door, and I think Georgia is the next one close to that. Take a look at the last 5 seasons, what those 4 teams have done, both in the wins, the college football playoff appearances, the national championships, and the fact that in all of those seasons, the most games they ever lost was 2. So there are no bad years, even though a 2-loss season in Alabama might be looked at as a really bad year.
Georgia's the one who seems to be kind of poised to join that group, and they just can't quite get there. They're exceedingly close. Maybe this is the year. Throw into traffic, batted around and intercepted by Malachi Moore. And there is a flag down at the 34-yard line.
Well, it was thrown into traffic. It was a big hit by To'o, and that might be a targeting call on To'o. The ball was out before Henry got there with the contact.
Well, I also think Michael Redding was being held before the ball got there.
Yep.
After the interception, illegal block in the back, intercepting team number 28, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Alabama.
There's the Alabama version of the turnover, which
some Alabama people reached out to me at the half and said that they believe that actually predates the turnover chain. I'm not really a historian about turnover-related gadgets and gizmos and memorabilia, or whatever we want to call it. So my apologies. Wasn't meaning to offend any school that might be the originator of this sort of thing. Do I have to read card 99? That was enough of an apology, was it, for anybody who might have been bothered? There's Javon Baker. I do want to go back to the sequence that you talked about when Miami didn't score, and then they thought there was a safety. The officials talked about it, and they never did rule it a safety. They, from the very beginning, said it's an incomplete pass, but Manny Diaz lost his mind and was screaming at Ron Snodgrass after the long touchdown by Alabama, basically saying that's on you.
But they had a 3rd down play deep in Alabama's territory, and they have not stopped him yet. I mean, Alabama's 5 of 8 on 3rd down today. Miami can't get off the field defensively. That's been the problem for them.
Well, I wanted to ask Matt Austin a question at the time, and then there was the touchdown. There's an incomplete pass. Matt, it was pretty clear. They have the O-to-O communication headsets, all the officials on the field, where they can all talk to each other. In a situation like that, there might be a question about, is he out of the pocket? Did the ball go past the line of scrimmage? Can the replay official be in on that conversation without it really being an official replay stoppage?
Well, the quarterback being out of the pocket, that's 100% the referee's call, and technically he's not supposed to get help. Let's face it, if he's looking at something else and he needs help, hey, was he outside the pocket? I'm sure they've gotten help in the past. As far as the ball crossing the line of scrimmage, normally the line of scrimmage officials will handle that 100%. But again, anytime a ball crossing the line of scrimmage, that's reviewable. And certainly the communicator up in the booth will just call down, yes, the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. We don't need to have an official replay.
All right, Matt, thank you. Mike Conlon is the communicator for the replay booth today. Trey Sanders, now one of 4 running backs who's carried the ball, all 4 they anticipated playing have had a carry. Gervin Hall made the stop, and Alabama continues on the move. 1st and 10 at the Miami 29, leading 34-3.
Here comes Jaleel Billingsley for the first time in the game.
And Cameron Latu has had 2 touchdown receptions today. The first 2 catches of his career. Comes off the field. Bryce Young gives it to Sanders again. Big hole. And very near a first down. Well, this is a remade offensive line, but looking a lot like the line that won the Joe Moore Award as the best in the country last year.
Well, look at what Billingsley gets to do on the first play. He's in the ball game. You're the lead blocker, son. Get up in there, hit the linebacker, secure it for your running back. Did his job very nicely there.
Certainly looks the part. 6'4", 230 tight end, junior from Chicago. Their first player from Illinois since the late 90s. Came up just short of the first down. Sanders again. Trey Sanders again. Touchdown again. 20 yards. And it's 40-3 with the extra point upcoming.
Great combination block. Watch the right tackle, Chris Owens, and the tight end, who's really a tackle, Kendall Randolph, 85. They just kind of combo there, seal the edge. He's got an escort of a wide receiver if he needs him. Didn't need him. The tight end and the tackle on the right side just cleared the area, and Trey Sanders ran to open space.
Reichard still perfect. Meanwhile, Christopher Allen back on the Alabama sideline with his right foot in the boot. Trey Sanders, sophomore from Florida, with the touchdown. It's 41-3.
While expecting, Jennifer discovered the Chex Mix combination of 1 corn Chex, 1 wheat Chex.
So you take a look at the most recent Alabama touchdown. That's Doug Marrone, the new offensive line coach, on the left. Of course, the last 4.5 seasons, he was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but made his name in coaching as an offensive line coach, college and the NFL. And what a great guy to have working with a new offensive line.
How about the fact that you have 3 former NFL head coaches on the same college staff?
It's unbelievable.
At Alabama.
We have asked a lot of research people. Nobody can confirm if this is the first time that's happened, but you have to think it is. Of course, Nick Saban, 2 years as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Bill O'Brien just arrived after 7 years with the Houston Texans. And Doug Marrone, former Syracuse head coach, also the head coach of the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's unbelievable. Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone are the best of friends and have been for a long time. They got to know each other here in Atlanta in the late 90s when they worked together as assistants on the Georgia Tech staff led by George O'Leary, Charleston Rambo, who runs out of bounds. And when Bill O'Brien got hired, Alabama was looking for an offensive line coach because Kyle Flood, who had that job last year, went to Texas with Steve Sarkisian. Here's Donald Chaney, looks to have the first down. So Bill O'Brien said, well, Doug Marrone's a great offensive line coach. Nick Saban said, you think he'd do it? Bill said, I'll ask him. So here they are back together again. In the case of Bill O'Brien, he's been the offensive coordinator now for the greatest college coach of all time, Nick Saban, if you go by national championships won. Certainly he's in the conversation as among the greatest. And of course, Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator for Bill Belichick, who many believe is the greatest NFL coach of all time. And Coach O'Brien said he's really proud of that. Long ball for Restrepo, looking for a flag, and he's going to get it seems, with Malachi Moore running in coverage.
Pass interference, defense, number 13, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I see, unlike the one we had earlier in the first half that we thought was a bad call, that was a good call because Moore did actually reach out, initiate the contact, and did enough to impede the receiver from a path to the ball. And that's the key. For the rule to be in effect, he has to impede the receiver, and that's what he did.
That last kickoff for the touchback was off the foot of Jack Martin. That's right to the rest. His transfer from Troy made a good impression in camp. Charleston Rambo now to the 40-yard line. And Miami on the move again, down 41-3. Very disappointing game here for them. Incomplete pass, nice play by Jalen Armour-Davis. When we spoke to Manny Diaz during the week, Todd, he said, certainly we want to win. We think we're a much improved team, but at the very least, when we play teams like Clemson and Alabama and the really good teams in the country, we have to play at our best. We have to look like we belong in the game. And that didn't happen last year against Clemson, and it's not happening here today.
No, in the 3 games they lost last year, they gave up an average of 47 points. So the defense struggled. Not beaten a #1 team. I know it's not on this coaching staff or these players. They haven't beaten a #1 team since 2000 when they beat Florida State.
Well, there are the losses you were talking about. The regular season, a combined 42 points allowed to Clemson, 62 to North Carolina. For the end zone for Restrepo. And a nice catch as he was fending off Brian Branch. With some contact, it seemed, Seam still managed to make the catch, 29 yards. And the first career touchdown for Xavier Restrepo.
See, this is what we knew you had to do against Alabama. You got to make contested catches with tight coverage and hands on you because Alabama does not concede anything. They're going to defend every play. You've got to make throws like this,
Officials timeout, injured defensive player.
That's the first real one we've seen for Miami. But it was a good one. Good throw and a good catch.
And the first touchdown of the season for Miami. First of his career for the freshman from Coconut Creek, Florida. He did play last year. Brian Branch, who had the coverage, is helped off.
Second time he's cramped up, right?
Assuming that is a cramp situation. Probably is. Sometimes you just start cramping. It's tough to make that go away. Tough to get hydrated enough. D'Eriq King throws a touchdown pass, 29 yards. He's 21 for 26 for 168. That North Carolina game that we just showed on the screen was historically bad. That Miami defense against the Heels gave up 778 yards total and 554 rushing yards. Both were the worst in school history. Most yards rushing allowed, most total yards allowed.
Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, the 2 running backs North Carolina had last year, both not there now. Robert Gillespie is the running back coach at Alabama right now. He was the running back coach at North Carolina a year ago. Got a pretty good group to work with this year too.
Andy Borregales, the extra point. And it's 41-10. Looked like the Tar Heels missed those running backs last night. There's Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, September signifies the beginning of college football, but it also signifies Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And this is very near and dear to the people at the Peach Bowl after their VP of Sales, Benji Hollis, lost his 6-year-old daughter to cancer. Now, Anna Charles Hollis inspired a $20 million donation, and the Peach Bowl Legacy Fund is sponsoring 5 ongoing clinical trials for pediatric cancer research. And here tonight are the Hollis family and the doctors whose research will save so many lives. And Anna Charles's father, Benji, told me he's honored that her life is continuing to have an impact. Sean.
It's a wonderful legacy. Incredibly sad. Good people at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, involved in a lot of charitable initiatives. And by the way, we do want to thank them for the Chick-fil-A delivered to our booth at halftime.
I mean, when you look in that heated container and it looks like a bottomless pit of sandwiches, that is money.
Khalil Billingsley, the tight end, returning the kickoffs as he did last year. And he's tackled as he crossed the 20. Chase Smith made the tackle for Miami. Actually, it's Michael Parrott. They have two 41s. When we are the czars of college football, duplicate numbers will go away. You don't have more than 100 players out there. 99 possibilities. Let's just give everybody their own number. We'll continue to parrot that until it happens. See what we did there? Apparently not.
If the guy got a jersey with a triple-digit number on, he would be in the transfer portal.
Yes. Mechie knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 3. Bryce Young, not only the record, Todd, for touchdown passes in a debut, but also the record for most yards passing in a debut as Alabama quarterback, up to 304 now, with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 22 out of 32 passing.
You know, we talked about Bill O'Brien taking the place of Steve Sarkisian. We talked about Doug Marrone. There's 4 different offensive coaches on this Alabama staff this year. A bunch of new analysts. Sark took some guys with him when he went to Texas. So not only did they have to reload with 8 new starting players, they had to reload with 4 new coaches on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, there's some good coaches and good players, because the execution level in game 1 of this Alabama offense has been pretty impressive.
94-yard touchdown pass is also the longest in a debut, the one to Jamison Williams. And it's tied for the second longest touchdown pass in school history. 99 yards, the record. A.J. McCarron to Amari Cooper at Auburn, November 30th of 2013. Young zings one. Cameron Latu. All of a sudden, he's Ozzie Newsome.
Well, he's been a reliable target today. He's a big body. You know, he started his career, he was an outside linebacker, defensive end. Just switched to tight end a couple years ago. And having a career kind of day today.
That's his first career catch that didn't go for a touchdown. Brian Robinson, a good tackle by Gervin Hall, a junior from West Palm Beach. He had a great camp, according to Manny Diaz.
First, remember Bubba Bolden, one of their real outstanding players, has been out of the ball game since early with the targeting foul that resulted in him being disqualified. Miss his presence for sure. Gervin were veteran safeties. There's Bubba Bolden. Street play.
Young got hit. The ball's loose. And it's recovered by Miami. Chance Williams, back up defensive end, knocked it out, and Jordan Miller, tackle, recovered.
A little inside stunt. Watch this guy right here come
recovered by the defense.
Up into the pocket.
First
There's
down,
also
Miami.
pressure here, but it's the inside stunt that doesn't get picked up and results in the fumble on the hit on Bryce Young. Well-designed stunt. Ball is out.
His arm did not appear to be coming forward. So they'll get the turnover chain. This time it's going to stick. They thought they had a turnover earlier. Got turned over on a replay review, correctly so. But this time Miller the recovery. Chance Williams, the freshman they think has a huge upside, made his presence felt. Out wide to Keyshawn Smith. Broken tackle. Finally got taken down by Justin Boygby. Smith is competing his freshman year, true freshman last year. Had 2 catches all season. And a factor today. Donald Chaney just shy of the first down.
Sean, Miami wide receiver Mike Harley spent time in the X-ray room. He is out for the game with an upper extremity injury.
So that doesn't hinder him going forward. He's a key part of their team. Cheney looked like he got just enough for the first down. He did.
Well, that explains why we're seeing Restrepo so much too. He was the backup at that slot position to Harley. Getting a lot of action here now. Has the touchdown. Miami's only touchdown was his reception.
Rambo went in motion. King spun away from him. They set up a little screen to Donald Cheney. He's out of bounds just shy of 10. And then got walloped by Henry To'o. And it was To'o who came away from it worse off, grabbing at his right wrist.
Officials timeout, injured offensive player.
What a collision.
He hits the ground. Right arm crumples. I wonder if that could be a shoulder situation. Henry To'o transferred from Tennessee. He did not arrive until June. And yet we talked with Pete Goldie, the defensive coordinator, yesterday. He said it was amazing how quickly he became a team leader and did come in with a big presence right away. Just got to know the guys. But he said shortly after he had arrived, he was organizing linebacker meetings. They were getting together to watch film. He became a team leader and is the signal caller on the defense now very quickly.
And that is so important in this Alabama defense, to have a good communicator, a good signal caller. And not only did it make the whole team better, in particular, it made the guy lined up next to him, Christian Harris, an even better player, because now Christian Harris, he can worry about playing will linebacker. He doesn't have to be the communicator. Henry To'o has taken that role on and has done a great job with it. Again, he played at Tennessee in the exact same defense when Jeremy Pruitt was the head coach there. So the transition was pretty smooth for him.
2nd and 6 from the 11. Miami on the move. They look better here on offense in the second half, and right on cue, an interception.
There is a flag down.
Daniel Wright picked it off if it stands. There is a flag down at the 3-yard line.
I think he was held. I think the intended receiver was held before the interception. They were looking for Rambo, and I think he was
prior to the pass, holding defense number 3, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
See, De'Aaron King had to double clutch on this. He couldn't throw it on time because of the hold. You're going to see right here, Daniel Wright reaches out and grabs him. De'Aaron King had to double clutch, and when he threw it, it was short, and the interception happened. But good call by the officials. De'Aaron King knew it right away.
So the drive continues, and it's 1st and goal Miami, down 41-10.
Little victories. Again, Sean, you're looking for anything to build on because this is game 1. It's not a conference game. Yes, it's disappointing, but you got a lot of football left. You got to get some good things happening to take home with it.
King on the rollout, throws back over the middle. That is often dangerous, and it really was there. He's fortunate Josh Jobe didn't intercept it. And you're right, because with an eye toward the rest of the season, Miami is a team that is expected to compete in the Coastal Division. In the preseason ACC poll, they were picked 2nd behind North Carolina. It was a North Carolina team that Mac Brown said might be overrated after his team lost to Virginia Tech last night.
A lot of football. Game does not make a season, that's for sure, good or bad.
They try to slam Cheney up the middle on 2nd and goal. That didn't fool anybody. Phil Mathis there, 5th-year senior.
Right now you're seeing the pride in this veteran Alabama defense. There are no backups on the field other than Drew Sanders, who's in for Chris Allen. This is the first-team Alabama defense saying we do not want to give up any more points.
King, there's Will Anderson again. He got away from Anderson, but not from big Phil Mathis.
disruptive. He's just too quick for the right guard. Navon Donaldson goes right by him. He doesn't get the sack, but he makes the quarterback move in the pocket, and Mathis is there for him.
We had a great chat with Phil Mathis the other day. He said, I really believe our pass rush will be better this year. We're more experienced. We have more talent. And boy, has the pass rush been a factor all day today. Here's a 28-yard field goal try by Andy Borregales, and it is good. And it's 41-13. Well, after several years in hiatus, we are pleased to report, back by popular demand, been insisted upon by college football fans all over the country. We don't need to see that. Todd Blackledge's Taste of the Town is coming back.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. We sat in our college football seminar a couple weeks ago, right? And they talked about such a great thing that the fans are back, the bands are back, the pageantry, the cheerleaders, and our whole campaign of welcome home to college football. Well, to me, nothing says welcome home to college football better than Taste of the Town. And it's been 7 years since we did it. People still talk to me about it, ask me about it, wonder where it went. So we're going to try to bring it back. And I've been, pacing myself for 7 years.
We're going to take a look at the measurements again at the end of the year now. You're taking good advantage of the
offseason. And you'll come with me, right? You're going to come and
well,
with me?
Perhaps I will.
Okay.
I usually put on my 15 pounds during the football season when I work with you, but I already took care of the 15 pounds added over the summer. Hopefully you'll be able to go to a lot of these places and it won't be Todd's takeout of the town.
Yeah, we hope so. But that's even part of the story too, visiting and revisiting some places that were affected by COVID and how they survived in their business, and hopefully we can tell some good stories with that as well.
Andy Borregales, the kickoff and a touchback. We're just getting started with this Labor Day weekend feast of college football. The headliner on the menu tonight, see what we did there, the Dukes Mayo Classic from Charlotte. 7:30, Georgia and Clemson. We are going to race back to the hotel to watch that one. Tomorrow night on ABC, 9th-ranked Notre Dame and Florida State, and then Monday night on ESPN, Louisville and Ole Miss will labor on Labor Day. All three games also available streaming live on the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Catchy new slogan.
A lot of new quarterbacks making their appearances this year, right? Notre Dame, Jake Cohn taking the place of Ian Book. He was a fixture there. Good to see Mackenzie Milton's return to college football for Florida State, which is such a great story.
He had a gruesome leg injury. He was starring at UCF. Jace McClellan, the ball carrier. That could be the last play of the quarter if Alabama wants it to be. And Bryce Young so alert to all of the circumstances. Was asking Nick Saban what he wanted to do.
The end of the third quarter. Timeout on the field.
Take it to the end of the quarter. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, today, Chick-fil-A welcomed the 2020 Chick-fil-A Scholars, restaurant team members who receive scholarships through Chick-fil-A's Remarkable Futures Initiative. In 2021, Chick-fil-A has invested $19 million in college scholarships, awarded nearly 7,500 of their team members, reinforcing Chick-fil-A's long-standing commitment to education, helping team members achieve their academic dreams. Congratulations to all. A great initiative. We'll talk about the good folks at Chick-fil-A. Jason McClellan to the 30-yard line. Those team members, when you go to a Chick-fil-A, they are unfailingly polite and remarkably well-trained.
Yes. And the amazing thing to me is everyone I've ever been to. Part of the reason why I'm so excited to see this giant bag of them out here in our booth is anytime you go by one, right, the traffic goes around the building. But they are so efficient in getting you through there and getting the orders, and it's unbelievable. Quite a system.
Oh, it's true. We'd like to announce that Chick-fil-A has renewed its sponsorship with ESPN going forward. Todd Blackledge. Jace McClellan is stacked up, but it looks like he might have the first down. Opening minute of the fourth quarter. Bryce Young still in there, but we believe we might see Paul Tyson at some point, who is the backup quarterback. We saw Bryce Young in the opener last year in Missouri when Mac Jones staked them to a pretty good lead. There's Tyson, so far best known as being the great-grandson of the legend Bear Bryant.
They have a number 3 quarterback that we may not see tonight, but he's going to play some this season also.
Trayshawn Holden taken down by DJ Ivey. He has a first down. Holden had a chance early to have his first career catch and dropped it. He hangs on that time. Good for a 12-yard gain. It is his first career catch. Georgia and Clemson coming up next on ABC.
Two teams that very much have a chance to be in the college football playoff picture, the conference championship picture. Outstanding rosters.
Trey Sanders out of bounds. Z crossed midfield. Here's Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, time now for our celebration moment, brought to you by Allstate. To Austin we go. Former Alabama OC Steve Sarkisian leading Texas. He has Bijan Robinson.
Everyone's trendy pick Louisiana getting pounded by Bijan. Give it to him more.
Longhorns up 21-6 against the Raging Cajuns early in the third. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, not an easy opener for Steve Sarkisian.
That's a good football team, Louisiana. Well coached, Billy Napier, returning quarterback, a lot of starters. It's a team that beat Iowa State, and we knew how good they were. Made it to the Big 12 championship game. Beat them in the opener a year ago. So that's a pretty good start for Steve Sarkisian, the former Alabama offensive coordinator in his first game.
JoJo Earl, the catch and run, taken down by Al Blades. Well, Steve Sarkisian deserves a lot of credit for what we're witnessing today from Bryce Young, who obviously was coached by Steve Sarkisian last year. Bryce told us he learned a lot, obviously, from Sark, and he learned a lot from Mac Jones, for whom he served as the backup last year. Just the way Mac, there's a nice play by Jared Harrison Hunt to take down Trey Sanders, took ownership of the team, the way he prepared, studied film related to his teammates, and Bryce Young told us he continues to keep in touch with Mac Jones. We asked, is Mac excited to be the quarterback of the New England Patriots, #1? And he said, Mac's always excited.
What a story he was last year. Just kind of unbelievable ascension. Very similar to the way that Joe Burrow shot up the charts for LSU a couple years before that. Amazing stories.
Sidearm delivery to Javon Baker. DJ Ivey made the stop. Well, for a lot of Mac Jones's time at Alabama as he got ready, he had pretty good guys to emulate too, with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. And he talked about the influence they had on him.
You know, Jalen obviously finished his career playing for Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma and refined his game some. And I really think, you know, what he learned at both places prepared him to be an NFL quarterback, and now going to be the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles.
But with their successes, those three quarterbacks, with the way that they changed the offense, really under Lane Kiffin.
Yes, 2014.
Got them much more involved in the modern-day
Offside.
passing game.
Defense, number 3, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. They're down.
Gilbert Frierson guilty of the penalty. They're going to continue to get the top quarterback recruits in the country. And Bryce Young was committed to USC right down the street from where he grew up. And then his dad, Craig, said, I really do believe that Alabama will be the better place. No criticism intended toward USC. Just hard to argue what's going on in Alabama these days.
Well, and not just recruit top quarterbacks, but top receivers. And again, when Lane Kiffin changed the Alabama offense and the way they were going to play, now they started getting guys like Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley and Jerry Jeudy. And at first it was just one premier wide receiver that caught all the balls. And then the next closest receiver maybe had a dozen. Now they've got 2 or 3 guys that are catching in excess of 50 balls and are getting drafted in the first round. So they are going to continue to recruit quarterbacks and wide receivers at a ridiculous pace.
Chase McClellan, after his 6-yard catch, got them the first down. And a helmet lost on Chris Owens, the center. Well, here's how the offense has changed as they got into the RPO game and all that comes with it. Last 3 seasons, 47 points per game because the passing yards went from 221 per game to 340 and a half.
And you really have to credit Nick Saban for his willingness to adapt and adjust, because he's always going to be a defensive-minded guy who wants to play great defense and gets frustrated with blown assignments and missed calls on defense. But he knew you have to outscore people. You have to be able to score now to not only beat the best teams in your league, but to win playoff games and win national championships. And so he made that change.
McClellan carried again. And when we talked with Bill O'Brien yesterday and with Nick Saban about what is going to be the offensive approach now with a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. And Nick Saban said, we want to do the same things we've been doing. Bill O'Brien is a terrific coach. He's obviously going to put some of his own stamp on it, add some new wrinkles, but we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. And with that in mind, Bill O'Brien told us he learned the Alabama system, including all of the terminology that they have used here the last few years, none of which he was familiar with. He said Mac Jones was actually a big part of helping him learn the system and the terminology. Nice debut for Bill O'Brien, too. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is a proud sponsor of ESPN College Football. The home of Coca-Cola, are we not? Atlanta, Georgia.
I like that.
Oh, it's terrific. They go well with your Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, really good. A little Duke's mayo on there, and we're good to go.
Chase McClellan dropped for a loss. James Williams, another freshman backup safety, Jared Harrison Hunt, who they think is going to be an emerging presence as the season goes along. Harrison Hunt, defensive tackle, played 2 years of high school football. He played basketball at a great program in New York City, Christ the King. There's Will Reichert. This would be a 40-yard try. And it is good. And it's 44-13. Alabama on its way to victory on this opening weekend. 7:52 to go.
The Chick-fil-A Kickoff on ABC is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Try the grilled chicken club sandwich today. And in part by Fubo TV. Watch live sports and TV without cable. Try free at FuboTV.com.
Let's check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Sean, if his style's any indication, both Big Cinco will have a big night.
I was wearing Nike warm-ups. Look at him, so fresh and so clean. Big night for DJ.
Number 3, Clemson, just over an hour away from kickoff against number 5, Georgia. Going back to you.
All right, Kevin Booger, thank you. It'll be Jack Martin to kick off again, the transfer from Troy. Junior out of Dothan, Alabama. Out of bounds. An Alabama penalty. Let's check in on the field with Todd McShay.
Watching Will Anderson tonight was a lot of fun. I think he's the best defensive player on a great defense. You see the ability to bend there, then his hand usage and just his effort, and then finally the ability to work from outside in and disrupt. He had 7 sacks a year ago. This year, I think you have double-digit sacks, and it doesn't matter as long as he's disrupting at the level that he is right now. It's going to be Nick Saban's best player on the defensive side.
When we spoke with Will the other day, he said at the beginning of last year he was playing a little safe. There's a pass over the middle, ricocheted and intercepted. Jalen Moody has it for Alabama. Jalen Moody with flags flying, probably for an illegal block on the return, goes out of bounds. Jalen Moody, the interception. Senior from Conway, South Carolina. And a backup player at Alabama. I think the interception is going to count. Then it looked like there was a penalty on the return.
Well, a fairly clean pocket that time. There was some late pressure by Jameel Burrows, number 98, but you know, Todd was talking about the turnover, or about the sacks and the impact of Will Anderson. And the reality is, in 2015, when Alabama had 54 sacks, which is the most they've had, it goes hand in hand with creating takeaways too. They also had 29 forced turnovers that year as well. So the pressure leads to bad decisions.
There are 2 fouls on the play.
Throws.
Personal foul, illegal low block on the passing team, number 1. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, blindside block on the intercepting team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Alabama.
So the interception, first of his career, stands for Jalen
Timeout
Moody.
on the field.
And it's the 3rd Miami turnover, the 2nd interception thrown by D'Eriq King. Midway through the 4th quarter, Alabama 44-13. Hundreds of thousands affected by Hurricane Ida urgently need support. Please donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond to and help people recover from this disaster. 977,000 homes and businesses in Louisiana remain without power. Some might be without it for at least a month. Paul Tyson is the new quarterback. Trey Sanders the running back. Of course, it was massive flooding up in our part of the country in the Northeast. Tulane football team affected by it, and they were so grateful to Alabama. Nick Saban opened up Alabama's indoor facility this week so Tulane could practice there. They were supposed to play at home in New Orleans against Oklahoma. The game moved to Norman, and a great performance by Tulane in Norman today. They lost 40-35, but right in it all the way to the end, as you saw earlier today on ABC. redcross.org/ESPN. Trey Sanders gets the call again.
You mentioned Tyson in, some backup skill people. Still the first team offensive line in right now for Alabama. The big dudes, Doug Marone's group, still on the field with the backup quarterback. Alabama gets Mercer next week. We'll probably be able to rest some of these guys, play some of their other backups that are not playing. We saw that first team defense mostly the whole game.
Mercer.
Mercy on Mercer.
Yes, I was just thinking that. Paul Tyson tossed it back to Trey Sanders. This gang tackle led by Nesta Jade Silvera. Here are this week's college football rankings brought to you by PlayStation. Alabama #1. If anything, they will receive more first place votes than they did in the preseason poll. Oklahoma, I think they're a candidate to get passed by the winner of that Clemson-Georgia game tonight. Ohio State had to fend off Minnesota. That was a terrific game to watch Thursday night. Alabama looking very much like the #1 team in the country. Here's James Barnett, the new Alabama punter. He's from Australia. It's the first football game he's ever participated in. And somebody asked Nick Saban about Barnett's first football game. He said, "We didn't bring him here to play football. We brought him here to punt."
The timeout on the field.
Just kick the ball, babe. Just kick the ball.
Nick kind of cracked himself up.
He did.
Said that
He
too.
liked that one.
5:21 to go.
Drop the mic, Nick.
Still to come on this Labor Day weekend, week 1 of college football. Tonight at 7:30. About a half hour away, Georgia and Clemson, the headline game of this early college football season. Notre Dame and Florida State tomorrow night. And Louisville and Ole Miss back here in this stadium on Monday night. Tyler Van Dyke is the new quarterback now for Miami. Freshman from Glastonbury, Connecticut. They're very high on him. Got into 2 games last year, and he's still a freshman because they gave him the extra year for COVID. He played briefly against the Florida State in a one-sided win, and North Carolina in a one-sided loss.
They've got 2 young quarterbacks behind De'Aaron King, Jake Garcia, another freshman. And the good thing for both of them is they got a lot of reps in the spring because De'Aaron King was out of spring football, still rehabbing with his knee. So Van Dyke and Garcia got a lot of reps. Van Dyke with a little more experience, and he's the number 2 guy right now. There's Garcia.
De'Aaron King finished 23 for 30 for 179, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Pressured throughout. And that relentless Alabama pass rush, which sacked him 4 times and pressured many more. The intended receiver, Will Mallory, it's incomplete. And it's a quick 3 and out for Tyler Van Dyke and the Miami offense. I'm afraid that Miami offensive line is still going to be a problem.
Well, against a team like this, you know, I mean, against the better teams on their schedule.
Which is a good point because there aren't too many teams like this.
No, there aren't. I mean, this is
not be any.
They're not going to face teams this strong on defense week in and week out in their league or any league. So this was the truest test, probably the best test they will have all season when it comes to that.
Lou Headley, another excellent punt. Slade Bolden on the return. He's down to the 34. Flag down, 54-yard punt by Headley. He chose that number 94 he wears, by the way, because he's a big fan of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and that's the number he wore when he played for the Miami Hurricanes. How about those tattoos? There's not a lot of space left. Awaiting the critical ruling here.
And made the point about not facing another team of this caliber. I mean, Clemson is not on Miami's schedule this year in the regular season. So this is clearly by far the best defensive front 7 that they're going to face all year.
Boys, we got Clemson and Georgia coming up next. You all have a headset. Figure it out.
Three fouls on the return team.
That's why, no wonder.
Holding, number 38. That penalty's declined. Offsides, defense. That penalty's declined.
Never mind the number.
Holding, return team.
That's a lot to
Number
remember.
36, 10-yard, 26, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Now, Matt, they have headsets on. Somebody's got to help, right? Somebody's got to blurt the number back into his headset when he's. That's why we wear headsets, so people in the truck can help us when we're flailing, which is frequently.
It is nice to have somebody on the field who can feed you those numbers, but I've been there, and sometimes the process breaks down, and you're on an island, so it's not fun.
No, I'm sure. Well, it's been a well-officiated game. 3:58 to go. Now they're figuring out where to put the ball. There'll be Paul Tyson back out there. We mentioned earlier he's best known for being the great-grandson of Bear Bryant. But you know, he's not on this team because he's Bear Bryant's great-grandson. He is a very talented player. He was a 4-star prospect in most of the major outlets coming out of high school. Newer Trussville High School. He's from Trussville, Alabama. He selected Alabama, but he had offers Arkansas, Duke, and Kentucky, among others. Operates out of a pistol, gave it to Roy Dale Williams. What a day in his first start for Bryce Young. Alabama records for passing yards in a debut, 344, and 4 touchdown passes also. The Bama record in a debut. Surpassing the 3 put up by Joe Namath and Matt Jones when they made their first starts for Alabama.
If there was any question of whether the stage was going to be too big for Bryce Young, the answer was a resounding no. He was ready for this moment, ready for the game. very well schooled, very well coached coming in. Great poise, great understanding, and then of course the skill set is as good as there is in college football.
See why he was considered the #1 dual threat quarterback coming out of high school at modern day in Southern California. So poised, he was so impressive. He's become kind of the face, not by his choosing, obviously, of this name, image, and likeness. Nick Saban revealed when speaking to some Texas high school football coaches that Bryce Young, and this was a while ago, had already received about $800,000 worth of deals through the name, image, and likeness. And when we asked Bryce about that the other day, he kept steering it back to, that's Ajay Hall who had made the catch. He kept steering it back to Coach Saban tells us, take care of that when you're not in the building. He said,
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 12, 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, automatic first down.
Jafari Harvey called for the penalty. And he really is. I mean, you couldn't be any more laser focused, locked in than he was today.
Well, and I think he understands clearly also that, what his first priorities are. I mean, it's to be the quarterback of the Alabama football team. It's to go to school. It's, those things, those other things will take care of themselves. And like he said, he's got a team that monitors that, takes care of that. He doesn't want to be bothered it. I've also heard by some accounts that he's turned down as much as he accepted. I mean, he could have had way more than that.
Well, and that $800,000 was a while ago.
Yes.
We've also heard that it's probably more than that. And good for him.
Yep.
Obviously, life-changing money for anybody is for he and his family. Tyson handed it off to Roydell Williams. First to speed along the near sideline. He's across midfield. And he was beautifully protected by that offensive line. I think the new coaches have blended in very nicely. Terrific play calling by Bill O'Brien.
Now we got Jalen Milroe coming in. He's the #3 quarterback, but there's a lot of buzz about him, Sean. He's a freshman, 6'2", 212 pounds out of Katy, Texas. Can really fly. I mean, he's a more gifted runner than passer, but he is talented. And I would not be surprised, obviously it doesn't matter today, but down the road, if he's not involved in Bill O'Brien's offense in some form or fashion, in the red zone, in some quarterback run things where they don't have to ask Bryce Young to do that, even though he can. This is a guy who's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. I would not be surprised to see that wrinkle in the Alabama offense as this season unfolds.
Well, it's remarkable how well Alabama recruits. It's hard to imagine that their offense this year could be, I hate to say it, but anywhere near as good as last year, and yet that was an outstanding performance we watched today. There might not be an offense anywhere in college football for a very long time that is as good as what we saw from Alabama last year. But I think we've seen today, led by this man, this offense is certainly good enough to win the national championship combined with this defense and a great coaching staff. But there are other teams in the conversation, and two of them are in the on-deck circle. In Charlotte, Georgia and Clemson in a matter of moments. This will likely be the last play of the game. Zach McLeod made the tackle on Jalen Milroe. Turn it over on downs, so there will be one more snap at least. Alabama opens with 507 yards of total offense. Actually, now they just updated the monitor. 500 yards right on the button. 353 passing, 147 rushing. Young 27 out of 38 for 344, 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Defense made life miserable for D'Eriq King for most of the day. It's Mercer next week, but then back into the fire at Florida on September 18th for Alabama. Tyler Van Dyke takes off running. Gets run down from behind. Kendrick Blackshear made the tackle. And Tyler Van Dyke and Manny Diaz say that's enough. Nick Saban a winner. He's now 15-0 in openers at Alabama, and similar to years gone by, average margin of victory in those other wins on opening day by 29 points. And today they win by 31. Final score, Alabama 44, Miami 13. Todd Blackledge, Molly McGrath, Todd McShay, and our great crew led by Josh Hoffman and Scott Johnson. Sean McDonough saying so long. Let's send you back to the studio.
Sean, thank you so much. So you saw Alabama. They showed up in Atlanta. Who will show up in Charlotte? The biggest game of week one, a game that we could be talking about leading up to the playoff. Georgia, Clemson, kickoff. Less than an hour away. Highlights, reaction from a fantastic week one with Booger McFarland coming up after this.
You'd never